UK timeout on Radio Biafra, bringing new things from across the United Kingdom, enticing analysis by the People's Parliament. Our panels dissect the topic of the week, and listeners interact.
Also featuring great Biafran history, education, awareness, and enlightenment, plus entertainment galore.
Tune in to the UK timeout on Radio Biafra. Sundays from 7:30 p.m. Biafran time and British Summer Time. Set out for a fabulous week ahead with the UK timeout on Radio Biafra. News, views, previews and reviews. Join us.
Good evening here. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, where you are. Welcome to the UK timeout on Radio Biafra. My names are Ikechukwu Nice Nwokoro Ichie Mwachinemere. I hail from Onitsha, Ezinihite, Owerri Province, and I serve the indigenous people of Biafra as the IPOB United Kingdom National Coordinator. As usual in this program, we will start with a word of prayer in Igbo, the language of heaven. After that, we will bring you news piece and then go into the topic of this month with our special guest in the studios. Let us pray. Chineke kere eluigwe n'ala, eze anyị na-ekpere ọgwụ onye ime eluigwe asaa, ọkaka ama amasị enwe onye yiri gịnị. Anyị bụ ụmụ gị agbakọ na-enye gị ekele, na-ebuli aha nsọ gị elu, na-asọpụrụ gị, na-akwanyere gị ugwu niile ruru gị. Anyị agbakọkwa na-ayọ gị mgbaghara mmehie ụzọ ọbụla na-esila mmehie gị, n'echiche na okwu ọnụ na omume anyị na agwa anyị ruru onye n'ihu gị. Si eze biko mere anyị amara, gbaghara anyị. Anyị na-ayọkwa gị ngọzi gị pụrụ iche n'ụzọ niile dị iche iche nke iji achọ ụmụ gị mma. Anyị na-ayọ gị amamihe, akụ na uche, ahụike, ogologo ndụ, akụ na ụba, ya akụ ihe enwe, akpata enwere, akụ ruo ụlọ. Anyị anakwa arịọ gị n'isi ụmụ Biafra niile ebe ọbụla anyị na-anọ na ebe ụwa sọtụrụ, kachasị ụmụ IPOB Indigenous People of Biafra, ndị nke na-alụ ọgụ nwere onwe ala nke i nyere anyị, nye nna nna anyị ha, ala Biafra. Onye isi anyị, onye ndu anyị, nwa gị nwoke Maazị Nnamdi Kanu, anyị ayọrọ gị n'isi ya nchekwa na ahụike na ọgwụgwọ ọrịa. Anyị arịọ gị n'isi nwunye ya, ada gị nwanyị, nwa gị nwanyị Uchechukwu ga-eme, anyanwụ ụtụtụ Okwu Kanu, na ụmụ ya Nnabike na ndị ọzọ nke ọ na-elekọta n'okpuru ụmụ Biafra, ụmụ IPOB. Anyị arịọkwa gị n'isi ndị isi anyị, ndị Directorate of State, onye isi Maazị Chike Doziem na ezinụlọ ya, na ndị ọzọ niile, ndị Continental Reps, ndị National Coordinators ibe m, na ndị Principal Officers niile ji ezi obi ha na-alụ ọgụ a na-aga ozi a na-enweghị ụgwọ a na-akwụ. Ahụ dị iche iche nọ n'ime ya, nna ka ikpuchi anyị niile, ka amara gị bara anyị ụba, ka imeghere anyị ụzọ ihe anyị ga-eji wee lụọ ya bụ ọgụ. Nye anyị ọbụladị ihe ndị ka na-ihe ọma niile ndị ka na-ayọ ọchịta eyi ọgụ ndị nke anyị na-atụghị anya ya, nke gị ọnụnụ gị mazụrụ dị mma maka ọdịmma anyị, ọganihu anyị, ahụike anyị, obi ọnwụ anyị na ịdị n'otu anyị. Nyekwa anyị eziokwu, nye anyị ịhụnanya n'ime otu anyị, chụpụrụ anyị ndị ajọ mmụọ na ajọ mmadụ, ndị nke na-enyepụta na-arịbata n'ime anyị. Kpughee ihe niile nke zoro ezo, kachasị ihe ọjọọ nke nwa ekwensu na-eburu abata n'ebe anyị nọ. Kpughee ya, mepee anya anyị ka anyị hụ ya, ma nye anyị ike na ume iji chụpụ ajọ mmụọ na ekwensu wee merie ha. Ndị nke nọ n'ime nzukọ anyị na otu anyị a na-agba mgbe okpuru, na-arụ ala n'ebe ha na-ekwesị ibe eze kpulie ya nye ha nchegharị nke obi mana obi nke ahụ ruru unyi nke na-enwe nchegharị laa ya n'iyi kpọọ ya ọkụ mebie ya ọ wekpere anyị na-akpe na-arịọ gị biko ka ala Biafra bịa chekwara anyị ụmụ Biafra ndị nọ n'ụlọ ndị nke na-ata ahụhụ n'ụzọ niile dị iche iche rọpụtara ha ụzọ ebe ụzọ na-adịghị kpuchie ha dịka ọ kwesịrị ekpuchigide ụmụ ya n'ikpeazụ ya ọnwụ anyị wee zuo oke oturu na-alatara gị anyị wee bịa n'ala Biafra nke nyere anyị wee na-efe gị ofufe dịka o kwesịrị arịọ m gị ihe ndị a na ihe ndị ọzọ nke na-echetaghị taa ụbọchị afọ kpere kwesị ike na ị ga-eme mekarịa oke anyị yọrọ site n'aha nwa gị nwoke Yeshua Hamashia ise ma uche Chineke n'ozuworo n'omume ya ozuworo n'omume ya anyị uche Chineke anyị ozugbo anyị mee ya ozugbo anyị mee ya mee ya ma mee ya ozugbo n'omume ya. The news piece is next. After that, our special guest for this month will be in the studios and is no other person than our favorite, our own Lolo, First Lady and wife of our Oyendu, will be with us to discuss this very, very important topic, restorative justice, the consequences of spreading falsehood and malicious lies. It is one not to be missed. So get ready with your pen and paper handy and make sure your ears are wobbled up. Listen attentively. Stay tuned.
Good evening, brothers and lovers of freedom. You're welcome to this week UK Time Out on Radio Biafra. My name is Maji CJ and I'm here with my comrade Wada Oge to give you this week's news bits. IPOB worldwide leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has called on his supporters and sympathizers to refrain from begging for his release, asserting that his quest for self-determination is a constitutionally protected right and not a criminal offense, maintaining that his release is a matter of legal compliance with existing court orders, not an act requiring a presidential pardon, mercy or clemency, while warning political jobbers like Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives Benjamin Carlo to stop using his name in their hypocrisy of begging President Tinubu. Oyindu also expressed gratitude to those advocating for peace in Igbo land and cautioned that appeals for pardon might inadvertently legitimize the executive and judicial violations of his rights. Martin Nnamdi Kanu gallantly confronted Justice Binta Nyako, asking the judge with a stationary return to preside over his trial to stand accused as he's obviously biased. Muhammad Wike disclosed that Binta Nyako has been mandated to jail him in exchange for the freedom of her husband and her son, who have corruption charges hanging on their necks. Kanu decried the prosecution, flipping of charges from treason to terrorism, pointing out that his case is not in a court of justice, but rather in a strain of injustice. Kanu further criticized the Nigerian judiciary, stating that the poor knowledge of the law is clear in Nigeria, emphasizing that his fundamental right to agitation for self-rule is not a crime, and went on to cite judgments that he claimed invalidates his trial. Oyindu said his only appearing in court last Monday out of courtesy, insisted Binta Nyako lacks the jurisdiction to make any pronouncement on the matter. Hence, her call for indefinite adjournment is null and void. On Friday, speaking on Arise TV, Tinubu spokesperson Daniel Bowler said that it's only when Nnamdi Kanu renounces agitation for Biafra restoration and apologizes to Nigeria that a process of de-radicalization can begin, stating that the APC government may only then decide if it plans for an alternative dispute resolution to be employed. Bowler, a recently appointed presidential spokesperson, said it's not about Oyindu uncles, sisters, friends apologizing on his behalf and pleading for his freedom. The local Precious Paula mockingly added that Nnamdi Kanu was probably born again.
Good evening. I am Wanda Ogechukwu. IPOB UK principal officers have endorsed the UK National Coordinator and his cabinet resolve to positively transform the leadership structure and operations of the UK family this year. Addressing principal officers at her first meeting of 2025 on Friday night, IPOB UK National Coordinator Chief Nice Ikechukwu Okoro explained that the transition to transformations is the outcome of over 2 years performance assessments and evaluations, which has revealed green scorecards for some members from zones up to the national levels. Chief Okoro explained that some zones and national working teams have not held any meetings or events in over a year, while a few others have been moribund in activities, emphasizing that the reshuffling of officers have begun and will be holistic. The UK National Coordinator said that after receiving reports of the advisory committee, he has spent a minimum of 40 days on personal reflections, meditations, and consultations of the wider UK leadership team, with over 82% wholeheartedly supported the move to implement reforms. He reminded principal officers that following our January 2024 workshops, he had requested zones and regions to ensure that they have full completes of coordinators, deputy coordinators, and financial secretaries in line with the code of conduct, while other auxiliary portfolios could be fulfilled where possible, stressing that inactive officers would have to be reassigned or replaced. He said it's standard practice to reconstitute a management team and urge everyone to see it in right perspective and not to take things personal. The UK National Coordinator stated that regional coordinators have the duty to supervise zones' compliance with the transformation agenda and enforce efficiency, commending those who have already begun making positive steps. He informed officers that the UK Cabinet is revamped with inclusion of deputy regional coordinators who are competent to fill the administrative gaps, including effective record keeping, emphasizing that the entire exercise would be concluded by the end of this month. Latest March or final decisions recommended to the IPOB UK for ratifications before such would be communicated to us sensitively and sensibly. The UK National Coordinator praised the zones and regions who have already drawn up programs for the first half of the year, reminding all of the importance of reviving our membership strength with returnee and new members admission. The UK National Coordinator has directed no fewer than 20 prospective members to the respective zonal and regional coordinators since the turn of the year, adding that the inactivity of principal officers is frustrating the efforts. Every zonal coordinator has been instructed to submit their 2025 meeting schedule and activity plans to their regional coordinator. Every zone should endeavor to hold the monthly meetings and communicate plans and outcomes accordingly. The mini summary of the zonal meetings must be sent to the regional coordinator, who will forward send to the national coordinator. West Midlands Zone is holding their February monthly zonal meeting about now. Meanwhile, the UK principal officers have been charged to ensure that the 2025 first quarter ESN fundraising is completed within the deadline of March 31st, with all connections remitted to the UK national accounts and comprehensive records submitted to the UK National Finance Officer, Lola Sophia Kallo. The UK National Coordinator charged the UK National Financial Officer, who will soon have a substantive deputy in post, while still receiving assistance from the UK Deputy National Coordinator Dr. Onyeka Ekekwe, to produce quarterly reports of all zones' ESM contributions and zones of overall financial status. IPOB UK National Coordinator has instructed IPOB UK Southeast Regional Coordinator Mazi Oke Obiano, together with his deputy and key Southeast Zonal Coordinators Wada Messinjoko of the Forest Gate and Mazi Theophilus Asonye of the Bakem and Dagman family, to organize a mega protest rally in London before the mid next month. This order was given on Friday night as part of the resolution of the first oil principle of
IPOB UK has widely condemned the irresponsible reporting by a section of British print media over an alleged case of asylum application. The Telegraph, in her Wednesday, February 12th edition, published a heavily biased report with a sensationalized headline of "Woman joined Nigeria designated terror group to stay in the UK was disingenuously unprofessional, as Telegram ought to know better." A few other media outlets, including the Vanguard newspaper in Nigeria, carried the same news, much more responsible than the British Telegraph. Reports also had the British High Commission in Nigeria gave a clarification last Thursday that IPOB is not designated terrorist organization by the UK. UKNC Chief Moko, in his initial reaction, noted that where the UK government have a duty of care to offer protection to Biafrans who are at risk to the liberty and life, maintaining that IPOB goal is Biafra restoration, not British asylum application. The UKNC then ordered all IPOB UK family members to robustly debunk the tabloid disinformation. He said everyone should go online to give Telegram the IPOB treatment. IPOB UK is consulting IPOB worldwide leadership to consider further action plans to enforce a retraction and correction from the Telegraph newspaper in particular. Head of IPOB UK Legal and Compliance Team and IPOB Worldwide Special Representative Lolo Kalamonde has disclosed that the lady in question, who has been a bona fide IPOB member, is her client in her JDS law firm, while pointing out the gross misrepresentation of facts. Legal action against the Telegraph is an option equally being weighed.
IPOB leadership has warned Governor Peter Mba of Enugu State to desist from his treachery of bribing community leaders of Ehamafu to release their ancestral land for Fulani jihadist permanent settlement. A press release from IPOB Media and Publicity Secretary Emma Powerful disclosed that well-placed sources informed IPOB intelligence unit that Peter Mba had made huge monetary offers of upwards of 30 billion naira to these unscrupulous community elders for the requested pieces of land. IPOB advised Ehamafu indigents to cooperate with the ESN so that IPOB gallant forces could defend them. Meantime, IPOB has equally condemned the barbaric killing of 3 innocent boys from Owerezukala. The young men were shot dead by Chukwuma Soludo Sagune Chamber State Security while installing towers in Anambra, with the armed vigilant falsely accusing them of being unknown gunmen. Elsewhere, 3 students of the Federal College of Agriculture, Akure, undergoing industrial training were abducted while returning from home near Akure Airport in the Oba Ile area of Akure of the state, while gunmen with a demand of 15 million naira ransom. Various
tomato traders were killed as a truck falls off bridge during bandits attack in Katsina, when the driver attempted to escape with reverse at high speed, landing the truck to fall off the bridge in Katsina State.
The state government over the weekend announced it has approved over 500 million naira for this year Muslim pilgrimage Haji sponsorship, despite her indigents who are predominantly Christians suffering under severe economic hardship, hunger and insecurity. A notorious Fulani terrorist and bandit leader, popularly known as Babayo, has kidnapped Brigadier General Maharaju Sida and reportedly holding him hostage in Bonino Forest, located near the Kankara border in Katsina State. The NNPC Limited over the weekend issued a press statement denying that her project Petro lasts far less in vehicle engine system. Recently, a survey of motorists who regularly patronize the NNPC filling station revealed that over 80% of their customers complain that their fuel does not last compared to the product purchased from other independent outlets. There is increasing suspicion of the NNPC importing unsafe and adulterated product lines. In a viral video, some men of the Zoo police and their soldier counterpart clashed in a shameful fight with officers exchanging blows in a physically heated brawl at a checkpoint near Jeddah close to a refinery.
United States Agency for International Development (USAID) has been accused of sponsoring Boko Haram, ISIS and Al-Qaeda under the last two USA Democratic Party presidents Barack Obama and Joe Biden. This was disclosed by U.S. Republican Congressman Scott Perry, who also said that the Obama administration used funds from USAID and other woke U.S. government parastatals to prosecute propaganda and other smear campaigns, including the Chibok Girls saga, to remove President Goodluck Jonathan from office and install the wicked and devilishly corrupt Buhari-led APC rogue regime. Back in Biafra land, the 5th memorial anniversary of the death of Wenyendu's parents, Ezesa Israel Kano and Ugeza Sali Kano, was held on Friday, February 14th in Isiama, Afara-Ukwu, Ibeko, Umuahia province. The event, supported by concerned elders of IPOB, spearheaded by Mazi Pastor Frederick Nwohia, IPOB National Coordinator, attracted indigents, friends and families with solemn traditional prayers and dance-troupe performances in the palace and grave sites of the octogenarian monarch and her late wife. May their gallant souls continue to find celestial bliss in Chukwu Okike Abiyama paradise, is saying. The IPOB West Africa 2025-21 day prayer and fasting program started yesterday. The devotional spiritual activity features daily prayer points and Bible recitations. A statement from Mazi JCI Onyukwu, the West African Deputy Regional Rep and Zoo National Coordinator, enjoined Biafrans, especially in West Africa, to participate fully. Fasting breaking time is 2 p.m. Biafran time each day of the 21st days. Today is day 1. That's the news beat this week. The UK timeout continues. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. This is the UK timeout on Radio Biafra. Falsehood and malicious lies don't just hurt. They harm by literally destroying relationships, eroding confidence, and consuming trust, having devastating knock-on effects. Those who spread hideous falsehood and or fabricate heinous lies often come from a place of malice, and most likely harbor ill feelings and ulterior motives. Their aim is mainly to inflict damage and cause pain to their victims and others. Their savage action is not just physical, but is also spiritual. Do the merchants of wicked lies really deserve mercy? How easy is it to forgive someone or group of people who conspire to tell malicious lies against another, who have unrepentantly manufactured and marketed fallacious falsehood to inflict damage, psychological and physical, on another person? Do chronic perpetrators of evil have the capacity for genuine repentance and turnaround? Are they able to restore, rebuild, and reconnect? Restorative justice provides a platform for both the offenders and the victims to come together to profile lasting conflict resolution plan or programs to bring a closure. Our special guest this month, February, the month of love and transition to transformations, is none other than the one and only wife of our leader and also IPOB Worldwide First Lady, Lolo Uche Chigeme Anyamotutu Okukaru. It's a great pleasure to have you back on our program, the UK Timeout on Radio Biafra, this unique Sunday. Please, ma, unmute and greet our listeners and great Biafrans.
Good evening. Great Biafrans. Thank you, Mazindero. Great Biafrans all over the world. In the Chukwujo G. Amamihe Choma. I say good evening to you, good morning to you, good afternoon, depending on where you're listening to me from. I must apologize. You might notice a little bit of difference in the way I sound. I've been quite unwell, very, very ill myself, and then I became, excuse me, so we all caught the bug. We got the bug first, and then gave to me. And it's not special. I mean, everyone, we all do fall sick. But the difference is that we fall sick and it's just us and no one looks after us. So that is the difficult part of it. But other than that, we are feeling better. We were quite sick when we went to court on Monday. But it's good gracious, all thanks to Chukwu Okike, that we feel better now. I think when we noticed that my parents-in-law's anniversary is on the 14th, we had to get well to at least appreciate them socially. We do remember them, we talk about them every day. But to socially thank them once again for their protection and everything. We had to get on our feet and do a tweet at least. So they want to thank you, Mazi.
Lolo, I wish you, that became very speedy recovery to full health of mind and body. Really sorry to hear about that. Indeed, this nasty, silly bug is going around the whole of the UK. In fact, we all got it some one way or the other. Are dealing with it in different ways. I'm sure you will make very good recovery in no time. That more or less has answered what I wanted to ask you, how you are and the family. And I also want to ask how Onyendu is. We all saw and heard him last Monday when he appeared at the court. But from your closer quarters, how is he? Also, given the fact that 14th of February, which you mentioned, is the anniversary of the death of your parents-in-law, his mother and father. Very difficult. That same day is also Valentine's Day, so it's a mixed bag kind of for him, your family, and all of us great Biafrans. How is Onyendu? Have you been able to send messages of love, flowers, or anything like that?
As you said, 14th of February is, I think the very first time I have a picture out. Someday I will tweet that picture. The very first time I had Valentine outing, Onyendu took that picture of me. I think that was 2006. And I'll find that picture and I'll tweet it. Over the years, Valentine is something that perhaps it was because I was still in my 20s and learning what it is to celebrate days such as Valentine's Day, which when I grew older, I like, Mazi, can you hear me? Am I coming out?
Yes, you are, ma. From my end, you are.
Okay.
Yeah, we are hearing her. She's coming out.
Okay, thank you. Perhaps because I was still learning understanding things and why we practice what we practice and what difference or meaning it makes. Other than that, over the years, we've been burdened with more important things. We try to show love where we have the space and chance to do that, which should be everyday thing anyway. So to answer your question, Mazi, the message that I sent over to Onyendu was to find out exactly how he's doing, and what exactly is our next step during Monday, and of course the celebration or the anniversary that was carried out in our house in Isiama. So it's a mixed feeling which we concentrate more on our parents, which is my parents-in-law, and not the Valentine part of it, Mazi, if that answers the question.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, so we celebrate their life, the impact, and what they stand for, and because they've become our ancestors, and we appreciate them and remember them, because without them, Onyendu will not exist, and without them, we will not be where we are today. So they are the foundational spirits that we have for this very existence that we have, which is myself, Onyendu Nobikam, and then the Biafra Restoration. So yeah, Mazi, I don't know if that answers the question.
Very well indeed. My personal thoughts and prayers will forever remain with the entire Opu Kano Royal family for the huge losses, very irreparable, irreplaceable losses. For their sake, we will always remember. And as you rightly said in your prayers as well, may their gallant souls find eternal bliss by their spirits fight with us until Biafra is fully restored. Everybody knows that the criminal invasion of the royal country home in Ishama Faruku Beku on the September 14th, in the evil Operation Python Dance 2, led to their, should I say, untimely departure from this planet Earth. But we believe that everything was for good for those who fear and love Chukwuka Abiyama. Now, let's take a deep breath, listeners, everybody, not just Lola and myself, and relax into our main discussion topic for tonight. Please do pay attention. Have your pen and paper handy. This is a class. Lola is a teacher by nature. Also, perhaps grab your popcorn, that might help, and a glass of any drink that will help you relax better to understand. Lolo, could you kindly unpack the subject, restorative justice? If you may break it down for our listeners in simple terms.
Thank you, Mazi. Restorative justice. We are really hitting hard on this reformation and transformative change. It seems to be all going accordingly. Thank you, Mazi. Restorative justice, in a very simple term, is the justice system that gives the opportunity for people harmed by a crime and the people responsible for the harm to show how the crime has affected them, and it lets everyone involved. So both the offender and the offended, both of them would play a part in repairing a harm and finding a positive way to go forward. So, as opposed to retributive justice, which is a form of justice which is committed to giving wrongdoers punishment that is proportionate to their crimes. It is a system of criminal justice which focuses on rehabilitation of offenders through reconciliation with victims and the community at large. So I think that's simple enough. So I think example, Igbo culture, we practice restorative justice. Two brothers, you can have a fight and, Nsubu and Nsubu. So there's this coming together. And the offender sees, sometimes you pay a fine. Maybe a fine and you see what impact you have created on the person you have offended, and the person you offended, sometimes during the reconciliation or the mediation process, the person you offended will be spoken to, say, please forgive, Baharia, and the person comes out to say, okay, I'm forgiving. So that is, I think, in simple terms, restorative justice.
Thank you very much, Lolo. Let me just quickly add also, for the benefit of our listeners, especially those who perhaps are more learned than my humble self, that restorative justice, for it to apply, people must acknowledge the offenses they have committed, including accepting, in this particular topic we are discussing, spreading falsehood and malicious lies, libelous acts, making false allegations. Because as I said earlier on, this is not just morally harmful, but it's legally criminal as well. There must be an accountability of what wrong has been done and how it has affected another person or a group of people. must be a responsibility too to honestly commit to correctional processes to repair the damages and reconstruct the destruction inflicted. This calls for a sincerity of purpose for all involved in restorative justice to sign up to it and to see the process through. Restorative justice, pardon me, I'm twisting my tongue, could be implemented through a spectrum of framework such as victim-offender mediation, like Lolo said, in our cultural setting, victim impact panels, family network group conferences, I love that a lot, I always engage it, community reparation committees and boards, which we do quite a lot, circle sentencing, amongst other platforms and practices. Lolo, with what we know of Nigeria, we call the zoo, their corrupt judiciary, or not just the criminal justice system, if there is any indeed, is there any restorative justice therein, using Onyendu's case as a reference point? Because certainly, Nigeria is the offender in the case of Onyendu's case. But as everything typical with people from our clan, you often see the offender turning the case on the head of the offended. As they say in the local palace, you won't change them for me. And depending on their position of authority, they committed crime against you and they criminalize you as well, and in fact imprison the person, which is exactly the case of Onyendu. How do you assess this?
Well, thank you, Manzi. That is your further explanation was quite insightful. At least the buttressed the requirements or what it takes to implement restorative justice. And there's loads of branches to it. So using only in this case as a reference point, there is no sign of restorative justice yet. Excuse me. There should be, of course, but Nigeria being Nigeria shows complacency when it comes to us as Igbo, just as you rightly pointed out. What the Nigerian government offered the Boko Haramists is called restorative justice, Mazi.
Absolutely.
But in partial. Why do I say partial? Because they have rehabilitated these Boko Haramists. They have offered them money and infused them into the system. But how much do you know of the people who the Boko Haramists affected? The people they displaced, the people that they killed their parents or their siblings and burnt their houses, destroyed their crops and shot whatever, destroyed their schools, the little place they go to land. What did Nigerian government offer those people? Because restorative justice is both ways. In fact, it's not really both ways. Here, as Nigeria being Nigeria has twisted the gun. They focused on the Boko Haram and not the impacted. So they have rehabilitated the Boko Haramists, not regarding the people who they have offended, who they have displaced, who they have hurt and damaged. So that's Nigerian government for you. So hold that line. Restorative justice provides opportunities for the victims, offenders, just as I said, in both ways, and communities affected by a crime to communicate directly and or indirectly about the causes, circumstances, and impact of that crime, and to address their related needs. Now, when Onyendu was granted bail in 2017, and they talked about restructuring, it's a type of restorative justice. That's what I believe in. But just as Gowon changed his mind for the Aburi agreement, these bloodsuckers changed their minds and went after the lives of over 30 people in Afar, Kwibe, Kumahia, including that of Onyendu and his parents. So they did not even have the capacity to go through with the restorative justice. They may not even know that is the restorative justice, but that's what it is. At every point in time, I try to classify whatever someone is doing, and I need to understand what it means and where it is coming from. So restorative justice and restructuring. Why are we screaming for Biafra? Nobody is a mad person. Why is this person crying and pointing at a particular thing? In my interview in 2015, I did say something in my interview in IBT UK. I used an analogy. If Nnamdi Kanu is released from the prison, would he stop agitating? Had we had restructuring, had we had things set up for us, perhaps yes. But if you put a child in the prison because he was hungry and asked you for a loaf of bread, you did not give him that food, you threw him in the prison, and he survived and came out, no bread still, why should I stop asking? I was hungry in the first place, so I would continue to ask for bread. So the underlying factor to what is begging for restorative justice has not been addressed. And people are talking about it in Nigeria. Senator Abaribe is mentioning that, Ishowere is mentioning that. It's like, nobody, someone speaks and you don't, nothing makes sense. I don't know what part of human brain, I know, but that's not what we're discussing here. But regional government can also be type of restorative justice to our people. These are all restorative justice, Mazi. I don't know if you agree with me.
I totally agree. In fact, if I may just go into the law, political solution is supposed to be a practical form of restorative justice.
Absolutely, it is. So I was coming to that.
Yeah, and that's what they've been parroting for the past how many months, going to years now.
So one of the issues, before I come to that, Mazi, the £20 we were giving after the war was a tiny part of restorative justice, Mazi. It was never completed, as there were meant to be programs set up to restore the people mentally, Mazi, socially, and all. So the political solution that you mentioned is also right here in my head, that it's a part of restorative justice. So Onyendu going to court, and the law is there. You cannot, as Onyendu said, I will not subject myself to your shrine of injustice. Because I can see your law, I can see your constitution, but you're turning it around. So I will not subject myself to this shrine of injustice. The Nigerian criminal justice system faces challenges such as corruption. When you told them that they are all corrupt, all of them, they know everybody is corrupt. The criminal system of criminal justice system faces complexity. It faces delays, which will often result in denial of justice to some community member, or in this case, or as this case is illegal, and especially the poor. So, Mazi, in the case of Onyendu, there hasn't been any restorative justice yet, but these tools, or the steps for these very tools is there, or are there.
Definitely.
So hence there is a need to revert, because their system of justice, and restorative justice is something that comes naturally. It's practiced all over the place. First pivot, or the first pilot step was taken, where was that? Was in Norway.
Certainly. The level of injustice in the zoo in particular, I know it's worldwide as well, but in the zoo is so staggering that one begins to wonder what has happened to humanity over there in particular. Instead of embracing
intentional.
Instead of embracing restorative justice, their natural inclination is to jungle justice, which is the extreme form of retributive justice.
Which is yes.
And then it's all down to the bloated ego of political gladiators who makes meaningful dialogue almost impossible. And they say, I mean, I don't know how we're going to get out of this. I just wanted to ask you, how could justice be restored? Or is it possible in climes like Nigeria?
Yes, in countries like Nigeria, like I said before, all the pre-colonial places, you have Ghana, in Africa, let me look at Africa, Rwanda, Ghana, South Africa, which other one, there's Nigeria. There has always been restorative justice. Even, well, it just has to be implemented or created, tailored specifically based on the people's culture. So in Nigeria, there can be, that is if there is consciousness, but Nigeria is a place where it begs for restorative justice right now to complement the current adversarial justice system in Nigeria. So it's very important not to take it for granted, these reforms, because the effects of the corrupt system affect the poor mostly. So this situation in which the poor bear the brunt of a corrupt criminal justice system, you don't really see very highly influential people in the prisons or having their criminality meted out on them. But every other country that believes in democracy should not tolerate this or entertain this nonsense going on in Nigeria if they truly believe in fairness and observance of rule of law. So Mazi, to answer your question, to restore justice, I would take that to the premise of consciousness. I think that's your question. Can justice be restored?
Well, yes, and how? But I know it's a long shot, but how in places like Nigeria, where is dog eats dog? As I mentioned, jungle justice. Everybody, power is a law unto themselves.
You can't with the system that is, like I always call Nigeria, the aristocratic system of government. That is what they practice. So Nigeria being Nigeria, it would take consciousness for these people to restore justice. But you will always go back to government. The government is an entity, but it represents the people. It represents the people. And that tells you who Nigerians are. The government of Nigeria tells you exactly who the people of the Nigerians themselves. It tells you who they are. You know, when I say consciousness, some people would take it literally that it means that they're not awake or something. No, although that is a different concept on its own. It's being aware. So practicing of mindfulness and introspection to become more aware of your thoughts, emotions, and motivations is what enriches consciousness. So the people do not now. If 90%, no, that's too much. If 50% of people in Nigeria, 50% of Nigerians, if they become conscious today, Mazi, that government would have to change. At least they might change by 30 to 40 or 50%. Because by consciousness, people will begin to demand for what should be. So I don't know if...
Unfortunately, yeah, I agree with you. In an ideal world or place, unfortunately, just as our guest last Sunday on this program, Dr. Tina Eberechi from the US, point blankly stated, there is nobody that is called a Nigerian. The people whom I agree with you, the indigenous people in the geographical space called Nigeria, do not actually ascribe to the true identity of that nationality if you were one.
Sorry, man, let me...
And it reflects in every other thing we do, including the fight for justice.
Yeah. Yes, man, the name Nigeria is just like the calendar we're using today is changed, it does not align or resonate with my belief. But I write today as the 16th of February 2025. Even though I know it does not align with what I believe, but that's how you write the date. I can't write something else. Yes. So everybody knows that there's no such thing as Nigeria. There is no such thing as Nigerian. Yeah. But unfortunately, in other countries where you as a Nigerian, he's Nigerian for now. So
it's a perception, yeah. And
it's a perception, but it's also a reality. It's what is there. So I'm not in. People saying I'm not a Nigerian. I'm not. Sorry. Even when you go to Nigeria, so much. Let me not go there.
let's leave that aside.
Let's leave that aside. But how to restore justice? To restore justice, it has to come from those who want it. So let me use us as an example. Whenever individuals or an individual is treated unequally on the basis of characteristics that are arbitrary and irrelevant, their fundamental human dignity is violated. Justice then is a central part of ethics and should be given due consideration in our moral lives. So for justice to be restored as a concept of fairness, equality, moral behavior, lawfulness, and order, 6, to question or to answer questions like, what are people owed? What are people owed? What makes a punishment just? Everyone from philosophers to policymakers to humanitarians is interested in what justice means. So justice can be restored when majority become aware, Mazi, become conscious on the level that seeks beyond self, the level that seeks to better the society, not this selfishness that I see everywhere. The person shouting justice, and against the same person is shouting, oh, justice, I speak for justice, I demand justice, and the person is also against the aristocratic system of government of Nigeria. Looks at the ongoing case of my husband, Mazin Namdekano, and spews bias because they don't like him. They don't like what he said, or they don't like how he behaves. That person is unconscious. The United Nations Working Group investigated every part of what Namdekano had said, had done, and still found Nigeria guilty. in the UK, arbitrary detention and hostage situations of UK citizens. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is one of the victims. So have you asked questions? Or you who claimed you know Nnamdi Kanu and can investigate, you can do investigative journalism. Have you investigated why the Nigerian government could not go through the legal process to extradite him? We are talking about kidnapping. Kidnapping, extraordinary rendition, an international crime. So, hating Nnamdi Kanu all you want, there is a gap that needs filling with restorative justice. There is a gap that needs filling with restorative justice. So, it comes for justice to be restored, Mazi, if you mean specifically in Nigeria, it has to come from these humans there. These different people gathered together under a name called Nigeria. The consciousness from them has to exude that seeking of justice. They must want it consciously, knowing that this is wrong. Regardless how I don't like you, if someone is offending you, I will speak up. That is me. And now that's a different level of consciousness. But that is what we need. Everyone in the world will not have it. Otherwise the world will be a boring place. As my mom would always tell me, everyone can help it. There is even nothing as being perfect. But the people, for justice to be restored in that place called Nigeria, these humans there who are half conscious need to become conscious. They need to even understand what it means to demand for justice and really demand for it. But because everybody is playing around, when it comes to you, oh no, justice, we demand justice. But because it has to do with Nnamdi Kanu, oh, they should hold him there. Because you are unconscious, you do not know what justice is in its entirety. I don't have to like you to know that what someone is doing to you is wrong. So, Mazi, to answer your question, justice can be restored when the people concerned are aware, they become aware and see that which runs beyond self-centeredness, self-importance, what is this thing that they like to show off and all this nonsense. When they become conscious and what they want runs far beyond what they like, what they want. Speaking up for other people, speaking up. You know what it means to be a freedom fighter? To want a freedom of a whole people? To seek for justice for those who are being marginalized, or to seek for justice for who, or the people who justice are not given.
Okay, let's look at it from this perspective, Laura. Thank you very much for that insightful explanation. No doubt, a sticking point in justice or injustice is the human factor or human element. Human beings, especially those with distorted mindset, naturally or otherwise, find it very difficult to admit their mistakes. They prefer to shift blames using all manner of facades and faulty defensive mechanisms to instigate falsehood and white lies. You talked about ways of restoring justice. But those who are supposed to be in the know and apply them those ways prefer to lie, prefer to peddle and market falsehood. At best, they tell half-truths, which are another form of lies anyway. People willfully lay unfounded accusations and bear false witnesses against the innocent, just to maintain their own stance or retain the status quo. Such devious disposition have led to grievous injustice in our society. We'll bring this home, this topic, restorative justice, consequences of spreading falsehood and malicious lies. Brother, what are the ramifications? The point I'm trying to make here is that clearly we've established the point or the argument that yes, it is very possible, and I totally agree with you, to restore justice. Therefore, implement restorative justice in the right prescription. But clearly also, people don't do this because they are inclined steeply to falsehood, to lies, to propaganda, to all other machinations to prevent the administration or application of true justice. Let us now look at spreading falsehood and selling or telling malicious lies. What are the ramifications in terms of restorative justice here?
Thank you, Mazi. Ramifications, excuse me, whether it is connected to restorative justice or not, I think it is these consequences, and that's there are consequences, and there are consequences. Of course, as we know, there are several ramifications or consequences of falsehood or spreading malicious lies. These consequences can be, of course, against or impact on the accuser or on the accused. So there are legal ramifications in restorative justice. Right now, the legal system, if we're doing home back home, the legal system is a joke, Mazi. Is a joke, and as you said, things are twisted left and right. There are also social ramifications. Excuse me. There are social consequences of these, which can, depending on exactly what the context is. There are also psychological consequences of these malicious lies, which you can connect to mental health. There are also spiritual ramifications as well, but this ultimately impacts the accuser only. This is what you usually will call karma, Mazi, and it is the law of retributive justice. This one is it just goes to the offender proportionately anyway, according to how they accuse the person falsely, as long as it's false. So there are several consequences to spreading malicious lies, and these consequences can be just primary, or they can exceed and become, grow into something, have a knock-on effect, which is secondary. Okay, so in a system, for example, the going around of Ibuku is not Ibuku. So it creates also this social norm, like it creates a social norm that is not true, saying Ibuku when you know it's not Ibuku. And what do you hope to gain when you do that? What is another consequence? You're trying to shut the other person down. You're trying to paint that person as a bad person. You're trying to create doubt in that person's mind. So if the person has something to say or an impact to make, a positive impact to make, you demoralize the person's spirit by that falsehood. You try to taint that person and it stops the person. If the person is on growth, it stops the person from growing. So I don't know if that kind of sort of example that matches with restorative justice.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
So these consequences don't never end well. It could take time. It would take time, but in the end, because the universe has a way of changing things, turning things around, that there are lies that have been spread around about Igbo people, you know, who started spreading these lies? Where did it start? It started from a high place and then trickled down all the way down, and now the ordinary person or the common person just would say, Igbo man, Onibo, Omoibo, you know, those sort of nonsense. And I keep reiterating or keep pointing at Shore's podcast, where he said very insightful, important things that but people have forgotten already. I hold on to things, especially when these things are important, and I will always make reference to them. So this is another example of, this Igbo person, don't let this person, don't let that person. It has a social consequence, Mazi. In social places, it's not a new thing. You have a certain tribe more favored than the Igbo person. In the business areas, you're looking at the seaport issues going on in Nigeria. You're looking at the importation process in Nigeria or exportation process in Nigeria. It does not favor the Igbo person. At some point, Mazi, some of our people were using the certain set of people to bring in things. So you socially stunt these people by this malicious lie, and psychologically as well. So even in that, Igbos just thought, okay, we are not wanted, let's just focus on our businesses, because even when you keep pushing, how many states do we have in the House of Assembly or House of Rep? If we go to raise a no emotion, how many of us, what is the vote? Right? So if we try to pass a motion in the House of Assembly, how do you think that will go already?
Actually, Nigeria is the citadel of falsehood and lies. Even globally, I'm sure people will agree, those who are honest, that Nigerians are generally viewed as liars.
Of course.
And it makes me wonder, why do we relish our comfortable lies and banish bitter truth? Only a very small, minute percentile of us, as human beings, not just Nigeria, those who claim to be Nigerians, can handle hard facts or truth. Raw, undiluted, untainted truth. The unpleasant truth. We shy away from it all the time. And talking about restorative justice, which provides or recommends reconciliation, making a bad situation better and restoring parity and purity. Human beings must be truthful for that to be possible in the first place. We must be accountable to what actually happened, not what we feel, but what is the truth of what happened. Our thinking at the time of the incident or occurrence, our thought process after or since it has happened or occurred, who the incident has affected, whether adversely or otherwise, it doesn't really matter. could have affected them in diverse ways that we probably ignore or sweep under the carpet. And what we think we need to do to make things right. All these pointers I've just mentioned, now indicators, are completely absent in what they call the Nigerian system. Lolo, it bothers me because so much lies have been told about our people in Igbo, so much lies and falsehood, generational falsehood told about Biafra and Biafrans, and those bundles, tons of lies are still what has been told about Nnamdi Kanu, IPOB, even your humble self as the wife of Nnamdi Kanu. Why do some of our people, and this is what pains me a lot, I don't know whether you share the same view, our own people are those who are used to retell these lies. Why do some of our people, I don't want to say most, but the reality is a high percentage of our people, especially those who are self-acclaimed enlightened people, men in particular, I want to address men, with titles, doctors, professors, high-rank sounding titles, especially men overseas who should know a lot better. Why do they revel in gossips, lies, and falsehood? This is a new occurrence. I don't think it's not our culture, it's not our tradition at all. But it's a new generational thing that has been going on. I don't know whether you have really observed this and you can relate to it.
Thank you, Martin. Excuse me. It is quite unfortunate, Martin. But you know, when you said that Igbo men gossip a lot, a lot of people took it as a joke. The first time he said it,
or they think it's an insult, but it's not.
Of course, people, Africans, or not just Africans, black people, they take everything as an insult. They need to, I think we have too much to learn. We have so much to learn. People need to understand the concept. I like the art of living. Everything is a concept for me. Everything is wide for me. And that is why I revel in teaching the concept of these things. Let me go into something. 3 weeks ago, I brought home a book. They do this book reading levels and stuff. And the book he came home with, he said he ran it with my daddy, and he brought the book. It's The Extraordinary Life of Nelson Rolihah? I can't pronounce in South African tongue. Mandela. So The Extraordinary Life of Nelson Mandela. Nelson was given to him because the white teacher couldn't pronounce Rila.
Yeah, they gave him the same name.
So she gave him Nelson. So the book then became read. Something caught my attention because sometimes he reads his books and he tells his stories, and oh my god, this is good. So what caught my attention is that when Nelson was 9 years old, his father passed. And when his father passed, his mother, by the way, he was descended from royalty because he would watch his father relate to the village people who restorative justice sort of thing. So people come complain, settlements are done, and peace made and all that. So he watched his father, just like Oyun Dumas and Nnamdi Kanu, would sit and watch Papa, implement peace when people come, bring complaints and and the rest of it. Because I told him I became that story, and he related it to what Mandela was watching his father do as well. So these are some of the things that Became talks about, and the fact that he's able to relate things with things, whatever he reads, from a book, he relates it to his current situation, or is a very good trait. It's one of the things that I made sure that he's conscious about. But why am I mentioning this? When his father passed, his mother took him to the father's friend, who was a chief in a village. I can't remember the village name now. His mother explained that in their tribe, learning from the elders how to be a man was important for every boy. And she wanted Nelson to grow up with a male role model. So let me not continue on that. But why did I say that? At a point, I picked up 1, 2, 3, 4. I did an analysis, and I picked about 4 or 5 people who grew up with their grandmother. I'm not saying, being with your grandmother is not a good thing, but women, please, first of all, before I continue, should please, when you take your son to live with your mother in the village or anywhere, make sure that you have a brother who is, who is strong in understanding what it is to be a man. I don't mean chauvinism. I don't mean this male chauvinism. I mean understanding the act of being a man.
Core values.
Core values of what a man is. So these grandmothers, they emasculate these boys, and they grow up to. When these men behave, Mazi, your eyes would, you would pass out. So they inculcate some traits or behavior that these men shouldn't have. So you wonder why some men engage in Ibe. Some could be from where the mothers are talking and all these grandmothers talking, and the boys are picking up. And another thing, we kind of curb, or we suppress our boys or our men, just like we suppress our men from crying. And I will say this once again, I've said it in my previous broadcast. Men, please, if you're oppressed, if you're upset, if you're frustrated, please cry. It is very important. You don't have to cry in public. Go into your room, shut your door, and scream. It helps.
Very therapeutic.
It's therapeutic, and it helps, and it prolongs your lives. Please stop swallowing everything. If you tell me that, I'll conk you. Okay, you don't cry. You have to cry. You have to open up and cry, and stretch the lungs and open your heart. Because of the death, we have so much death we have registered. In the past year, you were witness to that. People just sleep and don't wake up. Heart this, heart that. Some of these things are stressors. People are not able to relate with anybody else. You don't talk to anybody. You don't cry. You just swallow all these things. Take it all in. You just take it all in. So, but Mazi, to go on and answer your question, where I stopped about, only talking about gossips. Why the enlightened men, especially those overseas, not just them overseas, our men generally, most of our men here overseas revel in gossips, lies, and falsehood. I think there's also another part of them, that when a child is born, there are several traits. You have both whatever a woman is doing, but the other part would kind of will subdue the other one because of your hormones and that. But I don't know. What else I don't know? We're going back to consciousness, Mazi, where these men do not understand what it means to be a man. And when we keep saying that a man is a protector and a provider, it's not just you protecting your wife and your children. You protect your tribe. That's why you protect your clan. You protect your environment. So consciously, psychologically, you need to protect these areas of your life as a man. So these men are unconscious, Mazi. I'm going back to my consciousness. So they do not understand the practice mean. They practice their low life, or what, not low life, excuse me, sorry, low self-esteem is also playing another role in this behavior, because the only reason you want to run around, why I'm saying this is I have a family friend, very, very, very close to Onyindu, very, very close to Onyindu. In fact, he's given his life several times for Onyindu. Some of our evil men, not people in the village, people who should be having meetings and talking about how Alibo would be safe and better for children and old people and our people in general. We're calling him on the phone, asking him, these pictures that William Azimabdikan is posting, these little boys, that became his picture. Did she have a chance for Barrister Joffo?
Really?
People were making calls asking, so why do I have to bring this? Now, a malicious act or malicious lie has been released. And these little-minded men, because they are below the operational frequency of consciousness, they have accepted that there is no other path to life but impunity and impurity. People don't sit down and think of beautiful lights in their brain. Just in consciousness, you see nothing but your higher self. Your higher self creates peace. Your higher self creates a conducive environment and society around you. You become intuitive. You want to mend the things that are broken. Now that's the highest level of consciousness, so let me not even go there.
No, what your thought there? I'm sorry to interrupt, Ma. Just what your thought there. As the wife of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, I'm very sure you have endured a lot of wicked falsehood and blatant fabrications. You just mentioned one now, which is shocking to me, by evil men. Certainly, those people are not men, not of evil extraction. And recently too, we have seen people, again, men, falling online on social media. Some of these people claim they are fighting for your husband's release and Biafra restoration. But all they do is gossip, spread malicious lies, and blatant falsehood on social media. How disappointing are these fallacies, libelous as they are, to you, coming from our men especially?
That's a tricky one because there was nothing disappointing about it, Mazi, because it was from the people who are below my operational frequency. You must be. Now let me mention something, because I always talk about consciousness. And it feels like, wait, she's always talking about consciousness. I mean, sometimes
that's your bread and butter, and then that's how it becomes your drink.
Absolutely. So I live in that frequency, and most times when I speak, my younger sister would say, "Oh, don't you? You're not a human. You always say humans. So that's how I refer to people. I refer to people as humans. Now, when I say that by consciousness, I mean becoming aware, it doesn't mean that you're sleeping or anything. Now, Mazi, there is people, anybody like it or not, even those who are unconscious, they are unconscious on a certain level. It doesn't mean that they're completely. So when I say unconscious, I'm not saying that everybody is sleeping. So consciousness has 5 basic levels, and there is primal, there is reactive, there is willful and intellectual, and there is intuitive. Now, in consciousness, these men, Mazi, are still on the lower level of consciousness. They are on their primal or willful. Like it or not, everyone, whether you're conscious or not, whether you like it or not, you may have evolved through a few of these levels over the years. Everybody, Mazi. The primal one, and that is the survival level. So if you look at these men, they are all on survival level. And what is that? It's all basic level focused on meeting fundamental needs like food, shelter, and safety. Now, if you begin to break that down, there are traits inculcated in these men to behave in a certain way. So when you go out to hunt for food, when you watch the lioness hunting for food, the male lion does not have the skill that the lioness has, because she has the skills of hunting inculcated in her. So the way she hunts is different from the lion, the way he hunts. So when these men are reveling on this level of primal consciousness, they behave in a certain way, because you seek food, you seek shelter, you seek safety, you seek clothing and whatever. So when you seek food, there are some certain things you would do, like, what's his name? Esau, seeking porridge. Does that make sense, Mazi? So
absolutely. Yeah, so that's the level of consciousness.
Thank you. So you begin to exhibit some certain traits, you begin to exhibit certain behavior that a man who is 45, between the 30 and 60, make a plan of 75 years old. They have remained in this primal consciousness. Some of them are on the reactive consciousness, which is the egocentric level, Mazi. So what is that one about? That is the strong strong sense of self-interest and a focus on external validation. They want to show you they have arrived, all this nonsense. So people at this level react impulsively to emotions and external circumstances. And then there's a level, just very few have gone to the 3rd level, which is willful consciousness, and that's goal oriented. So you have some, they become intentional about their goal orientations, what they want. They develop plans and strategies to achieve their desires. However, their focus can still be primarily on personal gain, and that is why they still operate on that level. So a little bit down the fourth level, mental level, which is the intellectual consciousness. You see them, they begin to, able to integrate themselves within the society, the level of emphasis that they exhibit would go into logic, analysis, and intellectual pursuits, going to school, doing all this, their PhD and all that, and value knowledge and understanding. Some of these people, they begin to seek understanding of things, but you don't see anyone on this level doing this gossip that all these people that do this gossip, they're on primal mass, unfortunately. They are so back. So the last level being the intuitive conscious. This is where I sleep. This is the form Peter. This is the form part for me. This is my life. Intuitive consciousness, that's the unity level. And this is the highest level of characterizations, by a sense of interconnectedness and compassion. It becomes I am an empath. And I'm not just an empath, I am an awakened empath. So, and this is me just shifting a little bit. There's a lot of teachings going on about narcissism and the rest of it. I laugh as well because that is a big study on its own. That I think it's just one person I've ever had. The nightmare of a narcissist. The worst nightmare of a narcissist is an awakened empath. Now that is the person that everybody is afraid of a narcissist, but the only person that gives a narcissist nightmare is an awakened empath. In quotes, awakened. You have to be awakened in order to be that nightmare to a narcissist. Okay, so but having said that, these men, Mazi, they revel in this behavior because they operate on that lower level. When I talked about frontal lobe, maybe kind of recently has talked about amygdala, the thing that tell your emotions and the rest of them. So these things, they need to be activated. I never knew that when I spoke about frontal lobe that some of these men who operate on this primal consciousness, they were triggered. They are still bitter till today. That I thought about frontal lobe that everybody has. There was never a time I said Igbo people don't have. These men are little. When I say little children, it is because of the operational frequency that they operate from. Because I don't see a reason why these men would indulge in such conversations. Men with wives and families, and some of them with grandchildren. So, Mazi, I think I had to come back. But then, talking about intuitive level, the highest level of them all, it does not mean that you cannot operate on any of these levels. You can, but in any of the level you are operating, there must be an awareness of what you are doing on that level. And this is a different teaching. People have to log into my teaching to do this.
I'll recommend that definitely. Before we sign up, I'll recommend that. But
so they can sign up and pick all of that. So, but Mazi, this is why these men, they indulge in such behavior, gossip and gossip and things that they don't know about. Excuse me. So they gossip about things they know nothing about. They just want to have conversation. There's also a part of them that is missing when they were little, perhaps. They did not indulge in conversations, perhaps. So they try to exhibit that in such time. where they should be. Adulthood, you know, when in Nigeria, then when they take the my cousin would say that NEPA officer did not have a toy when he was little because they just keep snapping the switches up. There's sometimes he would have the NEPA doing that, and she would say that man did not have a toy when he was little, or the person playing with this thing never had a toy to play with.
Right. Oh, thank you so much. Please, if you need a break, tell me so we can take a little bit of break because we are going into some aspects of the consequences of spreading falsehood, telling malicious lies, practical ones that we want us to touch tonight. Dear listeners, you're still listening to the UK Timeout of Radio Biafra. And we have in the studios February, the month of love, the month of transition to transformation. February's special guests. Every month we try to bring one special guest for the month, aside our panels that feature the rest of the week. And our February special guest is none other than the wife of our leader, and IPOB's First Lady, Lolo Uchechi Game Anyamototo Okukano, who is teaching us, not just talking to us, about restorative justice, consequences of spreading falsehood, and telling or selling malicious lies. Lolo, you recently petitioned 3 persons. I'm just doing the statistics. 2 men and a woman or a lady before the altar of justice, traditional justice, back in Biafra land. And following the topic we are discussing tonight, I was glad when you said this very disappointing to me attitude of our men of reveling in gossips, telling lies, and spreading falsehood. It's not quite disappointing to you because you have a higher or inner insight as to why they engage in such. When you took that action of petitioning these 3 people I mentioned, I'll leave all the details to you. Could you explain more to our listeners your action in this wise? Many people are still wondering, some are even questioning, why did you have to do that?
Okay, thank you, Mazi. Excuse me. First of all, I mean, like I said earlier, when someone can't do something to you, I mean, they begin to seek to pull you down in any way that they can, or in any shape or form. What was disappointing is that people who never heard of me, don't know anything about me, I mean, at a time when all this while Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been in incarceration, has anybody ever said, or these people, not has anybody, I take that back, these people know nothing about me, never went in and thought about, oh, how could this, or how would this woman, so how is she coping with her little one? What could she be going through? What was disappointing is that these people actually shared the news as unconscious as they are. Now, how I look at issues is this, or how, first of all, when did these nonsense they talk about, when did it, so if you watch Mazi, initially, like I said, when Onyindu was taken, I'd lost my mom, I'd lost my mother. I think there's this lady. The thing is that some of the things they say, I don't even know about it. I'm not even aware. I am so not aware of what they are doing or what they are saying. Because I have issues that I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with so much. I have had to deal with issues that if I open my mouth, the heavens will shake. So in dealing with these issues, I lost my mom, and trying to go through that madness, Onyindu was taken, and these unconscious people want me to be on what? On social media, doing what? Crying that Onyindu has been. And now, people need to actually sit down and study. Study freedom fighting. You don't just study freedom fighting, you study your oppressor. The person oppressing you, you study that person. And you study your steps, study your skills, study your implementation of whatever you have. In fact, recently, Mazi, the government, I think United States, I don't know about UK, but America has incorporated this game theories department. I think they have it in their government now. So, game theorists, you need to. It's not always when you want to cheat someone. It's not always when you want to cheat someone. It helps you to read your opponent. It helps you to read a lot of things, and it helps you to understand, and it helps you to anticipate in several ways. Don't just anticipate one outcome. It teaches you to anticipate in 10 different 1001 routes. So let me not digress a lot. In these situations, excuse me, I don't think anybody was actually. In fact, that was when I was being called a wayward woman, a loose woman. This is somebody who is mourning her mother and trying to figure out how to push through that darkness, just with the husband's rendition added to it, with other situations that I was dealing with. And people were yapping rubbish on their platforms, talking rubbish. I never got upset. When I look at these people, Mazi, they are small, they are little. They are in the gutter, they play in the gutter. And I did say something on my last podcast. I am an ego. Whether you like it or not, you can see it, and that is why you are angry. That is why you want to pull me down to run around in the dust with you, as snake that you are. And I refused. And I did say something. I will come down, I will swoop you like the snake that you are, and I will take you to my realm, and I will leave you there. Now that's how I fight. And there's a reason I'm not fighting with you in the gutter and in the dust. I can't win because I don't know how to falsely accuse people, so I can't win. And I don't know how to quarrel. I don't quarrel. I don't call on. I'm not with this on. You threw words and I threw words. No, I don't know how to do that. So to answer your question, Mazi, I was not the one that went to the shrine. So if you remember, I said people were, making calls. I did not know that, because at first I didn't take this seriously. I I did not take this seriously. If I hadn't gone to see Onyindu, so because I had gone to see my husband in the incarceration, or in the location where he's being held, I've been to see him. Plus going with him that weekend, that's about 3 times. So because I went to see my husband, and the person defending him, representing him as at that time was Barrister Geoffrey. So because I had gone to see my husband, it means that I am having an affair with Barrister Geoffrey, and the Barrister Geoffrey is the father of, how dare the, who is that? Who is that? So, and when I look at these people, I understand where they're coming from. So when child, let me not even go too far. This is one of the psychological consequences of a woman, of an adulterous woman. So when I did say that I would teach about the consequences, or the psychological, or the consequences of adultery, especially from a woman, psychologically, emotionally, socially, and spiritually on children, there are consequences. The social part of it is where these children become damaged. And also the life that you live can also become a determinant to how you analyze things and how you see people. So I went to see my husband, and Senator Ifeanyi, God bless and keep his soul, may he continue to rest in peace, went to see my husband as well. We went together, and in fact that is not his first time of seeing my husband. He has seen him several times. So because I took a picture with him, it means that it had something to do with him. So that tells you the people who are carrying out these malicious lies, what sort of life they live. So I was never really that upset. It was my uncle in my village. So if you listen to, and if you watch, I did not share that on my wall. But my relatives, they shared it. It's on their walls, their social media walls. So, and I have family members, you know, at some point, it's just, as I keep saying, my husband is incarcerated, but I'm focusing on that. But you know how life, you know, how funny life can be. These people carry on talking about these things, and calls were flying all over the place, Manzi. People were calling, you know, people in the village. Nobody calls me, you know, tells me that. Choma would tell me 1 and 2 things anyway. You know, but I didn't get this thing, and we're getting calls, this person said this person said that, and my aunties in the US, my uncles, they're like, oh, we are worried, what kind of nonsense is that? So you can see these people are genuinely worried for me. They're genuinely upset about this nonsense, and I assure them that these are monkeys, these are people who are from the gutter. I mean, what do you expect of someone who's, I mean, when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about this little boy in Finland, this Uberemi jet. I have always known the very first time I really looked into who he is, because I work with energies. One of the things that has made me a very good transformational life coach is to pick your energies. I can pick your energies. If you tell me something you've done in the past 10 years, I can pick some of your energies from that 10 years ago. I can pick if you're lying, if you're stopping, if you're changing your story. I can pick those things. So I picked that this little boy had an issue with his mother. Probably I'm not saying that when someone puts to bed without being married, that it is a crime. It is not a crime, but it tells of your dignity. It has something to say about your dignity as well. But it doesn't mean you're a bad person, or that you've committed a crime. So, but these things, and then how you train that child, environment the child is growing, and your behavior as well, and what the boy or the child learns in his environment, and what you inculcate in him can also produce such a person eventually. So when a woman goes around throwing herself to men and having a child, and or married or not married, your child grows up looking at you, and that child sees nothing when he sees the next woman but what his mother, supposed role model, had done. I have the teaching that I'll teach in the coming weeks about misogyny and the deep-rooted cause of that. So my uncle Mazi, to answer your question, was very upset. He called me on the phone. He said, "Uchechi, Iransia," because my dialect is I love it. So it's so cool. He said, "Iransia, Ozula, what is going on?" That he's tired of receiving those calls. Now, when a woman is married, you're not just married, someone from another village calls you and says, your sister married to Mazin Namdekano. This is what I heard about her. This is what I heard. Is it true? And this uncle said, "What sort of nonsense is that?" And he called me and he said, "What is going on?" And I explained to him what is going on. That this is a case of trying to stop me from protecting the legacy of Nnamdi Kanu. So basically, I mean, there's no big deal. How did this start? Because I have refused the destruction of IPOB. You must stand until Nnamdi Kanu is released. And that was all. So I've done nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. I offended nobody. But the fact that I'm fighting to keep the legacy of Nnamdi Kanu, that ensued. So as a married woman, that is a no-go area. That is something that you don't delve into. So my uncle decided to go because they gave me out to Nnamdi Kanu. Yeah, I didn't give myself. I didn't bear myself. I was not the one that gave birth to myself. I have people. So he was very upset. He decided to do something about it. And
he has done a great thing. Yeah, if I just come in there, Lolo, in ancient Igbo, not just Igbo, Biafra tradition, a virtuous woman is not just honorable, but a great asset, a blessing, and a pillar to the man or husband and his family's overall success. You're very correct there when you said, in our ways of life, Igbo, adultery, infidelity of a married woman attracts severe consequences, damning ones for that matter, including horrible misfortune for the husband and his household.
Absolutely.
For anyone to spread malicious lies and falsehood, make accusations and allegations of adultery and marital infidelity, they have practically summoned themselves before the gods. So your uncle your family, including your dad, I believe is part of the decision because it's not.
No, my dad.
Okay, I'll come to that.
No.
Okay. The point I'm trying to make is whoever took that decision took it in line with our tradition.
Yes.
Then you became aware of it. Our listeners may want to know, because this has been going on like rumor, and that is part of what the enemies or distractors of Biafra has sown into us, even in our movement. So much lies, so much falsehood, so much rumors and misinformation, and is scattering us as a people. So it's better we just put it to bed. And as I said, even in restorative justice, truth is the only way. And that's what Nnamdi Kanu taught all of us. Stand on the truth, regardless of the circumstances and situation. So many people have been misled to believe these lies, devilish lies, online and even in person. But your uncle, I believe with your blessing, chose 3 people in particular, and you also gave them a deadline. I believe it's middle of March, to do the needful, which is, I think that is my understanding, that is the leeway you have given them towards restorative justice. So can you explain a little bit more about why those 3 people in particular and the deadline, and what are they expected to do on or before that deadline?
Okay, Miles. Yes, I'm not one who would deny, whatever part I have taken in anything. Yes, with my blessing, yes. And these, of course, ensued from meetings, and conversations. And in some of these conversations, my uncle would sense I usually switch into, when I mean consciousness, you know what I mean. So when we have this conversation, I switch into a different realm where I become. So what I mean by I become is that I speak in a become state. Well, that's a different teaching. So when these people took it upon themselves to taint my name, I mentioned their names. In fact, my uncle said to me, anybody that writes any nonsense on your wall, pick their picture for me, bring it, and their real name. But that's the thing, this person writing, do you know their real name? So all I need to do is take your name and your picture and and that's all. And I'll send it to him. That one is ready. So if you listen to his voice note, he said something. He said, I don't have time for police. I'm not going to police or army. I'm not going to court. Now, there is a part of me that knows about legal proceedings where you need to go to the court and practicing. My house is on fire. My husband is incarcerated. So I don't have the time, although I went on with the Finland prosecution to tendering my what's it called, petition, because Finland has that law where if you're able to prove, but these things, they take time, Mazi. They take time, they take excuse me, they take money, yeah, and they take energy as well. So like I said, I have 1001 things to do. But if the person was in the UK, I think then now I'm here now, it's easier here because you're in the UK and I'm in the UK. And nobody in the UK would dare try that rubbish. So I looked at the legal proceedings in Finland and in Germany. And the options are there for me to pick the things that I need to pick. But like I said, he whose house is on fire cannot keep chasing. You can't go chasing rats. So my brother took that, or my uncle took that, and went out for it. Now, what it is involved is, if you say that these allegations you are alleging, you're throwing at this woman, Chichi Anyanwu Okano, there is no big deal. You come, yes, and you explain yourself. Now, they've been giving, I think one of the questions you asked is why these 3 persons? So, these are the cooks. They are the ones that cooked. They are the ones that cooked the rubbish going on. They cooked it, and it started to smell. I wasn't bothered about it. I didn't think it was important.
And they served it to the public.
Thank you. And they served it to the public, and the public started, and then the public, that's why they are called the public. You know, pub and leak. They go to pub and they leak all the drops in the cups, and they leak rubbish. Yeah. So that is why it's called public. So public taking, people revel. People are sad. People revel in only ugly, frivolous news, gossip. People come here to teach how, people will behave, and, transformation, everybody walking like robots, and nobody will speak to you. They won't even join your class. But if you're coming here to insult somebody and rave and insult their generation and call them names, people will gather and watch. So that is the level that they operate in. And unfortunately, most people operate in that level. And that is why they find joy in gossips and malicious lies and tainting people, So these 3 people are the people that created these nonsense going on. I think there's a difference between name calling and these allegations. Name call, I think initially it was all name calling and I ignored them. And but when they started creating stories, I don't know where they got the stories from. It became, I think that's also when people started to call. They call my in-laws, they call my village, my village members, they were getting calls. Because I didn't come out from a tree, I didn't come out from a bush, I came out from a community. A community that they know who I am. I graduated from the University of Ibadan and I studied geology. Go and ask of me. If you say I challenge a lecturer, I'm challenging VC, I'm challenging somebody, I'm challenging village head. Everybody will accept, that's Uchechi for you. Oh, yes, so did she stone the man? Did she use stone and stone the person? Because they'll be adding what I will do. But Uchechi lying, Uchechi stealing, Uchechi sleeping around with men. Now that's the height of it. Uchechi is not known for such. Uchechi is known for strength. How about no nonsense? That is what Uchechi is known for. And you give me what is it called? You give me a life, or give me life to breathe, or you give me you give me an air, a bottle of air to breathe in. I'm gasping for life, and you give me air, and I take in that air. Now that's the most important thing to me right now. As a human, the most important thing we give is air, isn't it? So you give me that air, and you want me to watch you oppress someone, or lie against someone or do something, I will inhale the air and punch you with the bottle, containing that air. Now that's Uchechi. So I have a community that I grew up in, and I have friends who knew me as a young woman who was, if I say was, it's as if I'm no longer beautiful, who know me as, what they call me in school, Atupapalo, that's lantern, who know me as light, who know me as a healer, because when I say healer, I don't put my hands on your head and pray and you become well. I mend broken things. That is what I'm known for. I fix things that are not okay. That is what I do. Do that with my classmates. I do that everywhere I go. I heal something. If you have a situation that is not okay, I heal, I help. That is the gift that God has given me. And that is my purpose in life. Not spreading legs. I don't spread legs. I don't do that. So in my book, some of you will learn a lot about me. Who I am, who Nandekano is to me. When he met me, for how long we were together before we got married, and we are here. You will learn a lot. So my community refused, or my uncle refused to allow people to change who I am. So these people have this number of weeks. I can't even remember the weeks because he told me everything. To go and explain, because he asked them to come and explain all that they have falsely accused me of, to explain it and say that you agree that, or you accept that what you say is the truth, nothing but the truth. Now, Mazi, there are traditions, or there are rituals that they would do. Okay, so at that time, if they do not go there and do the right thing, my uncle will proceed to activate whatever it is that he wants to activate. And then the rest is, whatever, it's all, these things are universal energies, Mazi. There's nothing for anyone to be afraid of. These are energies. Yeah. It's all spoken words. It's all spoken words. People, there are things you can speak, and talking about cooking, talking about, things you can say, spoken words. You know that cooking is cooking when you cook soup. Do you know that is that's an art. Cooking soup is an art. It's like potion as well. You're preparing potion. You're preparing potion. So there are some things you would cook. You don't add palm oil to it. You would cook it and you speak. You speak. What is honey water? What is the things that prepared for? These are the things you can also do for yourself. It's all about the right ingredients and the right spoken words, and that's the activation you need. That's all.
Yeah, you're very correct. No, as I said, at the beginning of this program tonight, when we're looking at restorative justice, I did mention about some of the frameworks, or if you like, restorative practices. So, just for our people to understand, traditional ways, like IPOB Nabara, that is around here, is part of it. It's one of those I mentioned earlier when I talked about community or traditional reparations committees or boards. There were ancestral committees for justice. For justice. So IPOB Nabara, there is nothing evil, devilish about it, so that people can get their senses and wobble them.
Sorry, Mazi. Why? So the people who sit down and create falsehood against someone, do they know how devilish? Do they know the art of darkness that is?
Yes, Lord. I'm just trying to help our listeners, because sometimes the people listen to drama, they lose the message.
Do they know that is an art of witchcraft? They don't know, apparently. That is why I will continue to expand my teachings in consciousness. That is witchcraft, manipulation, and the rest of them. These are vices of manipulation, because you're creating this thing to make me, or I don't know,
to harm. It's actually just as we said already.
To harm me, but in a certain way, to make me become, one, it could be for me to run away and not to be on social media. They've not given birth to the person. Like I said, Mazen Namdekano is incarcerated, and that's the priority that I have, that he be released. When Mazen Namdekano is released, then people will then understand what it means to be a warrior. They don't know me. I appear very quiet, and my demeanor, it causes of peace. But when you say a virtuous woman, it means a woman of valor. I war. That is what I do. Not usually physically, but that is what I do mentally, spiritually. I war, and I take on people's wars, and I fight. That is what I do. So, but it doesn't mean that I'm not physical as well. I mean, mine is, I'm anywhere you want it. I am equal. I am equal to. I will meet you head on. So some of them think that some people think that I'm mad. You don't know. Some people, I worry about my madness. You know, not for my sake, but for what will become of the person. Because I go from 0 to 1,000. I don't scroll. I switch. So I because of my consciousness, I've learned to contain that switch, because I know that I switch from here, I flip from this calmness, this calm person to someone you've never dreamt of in your life. So I contain that, and that is my consciousness. I hold into that, and I train to maneuver these consciousness levels, to be able to switch according to my imminent circumstance. You know, being able to maneuver and alternate these consciousness. So that is how much I have grown. That is how much I have become aware. So I know when to behave in a certain way and when not to, when to speak and when not to. So that was done by my uncle, and he was asking me for their phone numbers. I don't have their phone numbers. I don't know these people. They don't know me. In fact, I need to say, because my parents-in-law were remembered on Friday. My mother-in-law passed on a Friday, but I was with her and Papa for some days, at least 3 days. I held her head, I fed her water, and I cooked for them. And I fed her food, and I gave her medication. I looked after them. This certain man in Germany never visited my parents-in-law, never saw them, he and his bumblebee never came there, never stayed with them, never looked after them until they passed. So that man heard my voice and he ran. He didn't speak to me. So some of these people insulting me on social media, when they see me, when I come to them face to face, they take off. They take off, because I'm a force for you to reckon. You are a force to be reckoned with. When you decide to behave that something is wrong with your head. So I just have to say this. You know, sometimes you keep quiet, and some people think that, oh, they just have, or they play all the cards I have. They don't know that I have. But like I said, I'm not fighting anybody. There is no need for that. The uncle has done the needful, which is what a community would do for their child. Now, as a married Igbo woman, that as you rightly mentioned, Mazi, in Igbo tradition, adultery is considered a serious transgression with significant social and spiritual repercussions, cultural and social implications. Imagine that there is no such place for my uncle to go to. An Onyendu comes and an Onyendu says, oh, I think what these people are saying is true. Okay, where would the proof come from? Where my uncle has gone is the highest place of proof. And what do you think? Do you know in the past, even in the past, up until now, that leads to separate, that leads to what is it called, divorce, that leads to shame. Your community will be, the other community will be insulting your community because of your shameful act. So this has to do with my community, and they're doing something about it. So they're not letting it slide, even though initially I thought, oh, well, what's the point? There's no point. Just leave these things because.
Yeah, of course, they're doing the needful because they crossed the line. They took rumors and online gossiping, maybe they thought they were having fun, to a dangerous level. There are certain accusations of falsehood that you are not allowed to spread unless you have proofs, evidence, hardcore proofs. It's not hearsay. And I've noticed, and I'm sure some of our listeners have, Lolo, that you are consciously avoiding naming these people. But because there are publicities out there already which have gone out, and as I mentioned, they have up to the middle of next month, March, to answer that call, the ancestral call, at the shrine where they've been called. It's important too that we refresh our listeners' minds and brains about the people we're talking about here. I respect your decision not to name or even shame them, maybe because it's not worth it, to be honest, but for communication's sake, I have to, as the host and presenter of this program, put it in proper perspective. We've heard tonight that the community, not just family, of our First Lady, Oyendu's wife, Lolo Chechi Gene, Anyanwu Tutu Okukanu, the Anyanwu family and clan petitioned the chief cooks, as Lolo named them, of this evil, malicious lies and falsehood spreading about Lolo's marital fidelity, questioning it, and making spurious allegations of adultery, which they have not been able to provide anything to the people they claim. Namely, the agent provocateur in Finland, Simon Eber, said a lot of unthinkable things about our First Lady. Meanwhile, he claims to be Onyendu's disciple. And some people, I don't mean to insult anybody, I have to call a spade a spade. Some very foolish people believe him. I've said on one of our programs here that anybody who insults a man's wife, even their ex-wife, has 10 times insulted the man. You dare not insult my wife. You have declared war between yourself and me. It doesn't matter what my wife did. And this is a man, Lord, I'm coming, please. This is somebody who's done that on many occasions. And some people are clapping for him. Some people were jeering, urging him on, and doing all the nonsense. Then you know the other person in Germany, Lolo referred to, that calls himself Master Prophet. I don't know the real name, to be honest. I can't remember unless I look at the poster. And the wife, I don't want to talk about the relationship with the Okukano family, but how damaging. Which means no okay no but okay no ama. In other words, it is sometimes your own people from your own kitchen that the enmity, the hatred, the envy, the jealousy, the bitterness, the wickedness emanate from. The cooking of wickedness starts sometimes in your own kitchen. and those who will allow access to your kitchen. So these three people have up to the middle of March to answer, because there will be consequences, as we have learned today from restorative justice, that sometimes can lead to restorative justice if you do not take the avenue or opportunity of restorative justice. Unfortunately for Eberina, I don't know whether he will have the opportunity of coming out to answer before middle of March because of where he is. And he led himself to wherever he is. Because he decided to turn Biafra restoration into a caricature, into a game section or money grabbing opportunism. And this should serve as a note of warning to each and every one of us, regardless of the title or position you find yourself in today. You dare not joke with the spirit of Biafra. The consequences will be dire, not just for you, but for your children and your children's children. It's in the oath we take, or we have taken. Laura, I'll come back to you. I know how hard this is, and I don't know whether these people have any remorse or repentance in them, as we've been discussing on the topic earlier. But if they do, would you find a place in your heart to forgive them?
Yes, Mazi. I mean, forgiveness is part of consciousness. To be honest, I'm not really upset, because when you're upset about something, you do something about it. And like I said, I'm a transformational person. I'm a person who life without challenge, I think, is a bit boring. I find the absence of challenge boring. So, and that's how we can make society a better place, or make people better people. But when a human being makes himself, or when one becomes a challenge, I see you as an obstacle. I see you as a task. And in my natural state, I will solve you. And that means obliterating, as my sister would always say, when you become a task, when you become an obstacle, I will obliterate that obstacle. Obliteration doesn't mean maybe killing, or you become a task. And I do very well with planning to deal with a task. And part of my natural gift, no task is above obliteration. So, I think in terms of forgiveness, I have forgiven these people, but they just have to go and respond to the call by our ancestors. Because some of these things, the spiritual consequences of this traditional belief, it holds that a woman's infidelity can invoke ancestral wrath. Yeah. So it can invoke ancestral wrath if she did it against her and her children. But if she did not do it, it can also invoke ancestral wrath against the accusers. Because the woman will call upon them and do the things that needed to be done to activate the call. So forgiveness, yes, I have, and I have nothing against them. But you can call me whatever you want to call me, but to create a story that does not exist is a no-go area. Now, another thing is that this very person that ties down or that lives in Germany, if Biafrans can recall, I don't know this person, never met him before, but this man started to call me since 2015. I don't know this man. Never seen him. Like I said, he heard my voice on the phone and he ran like a chicken, small little rat. He ran. He and the other one in Finland. They're not comprehensible enough. They don't speak comprehensively and comprehensively either. There's always this distortion. So we see them as imbeciles. But if you recall, if you go back to 2015 and find out the rule, I nearly lost Nabikane. I nearly miscarried Nabikane. I nearly miscarried Nabikane. Why I have written a book is because it is my story, it is my pain, and I will speak it. I will tell my story because my story has lessons. This man battered and called. In fact, they went on to say Uchechi had been, what is it called? What was that thing called? Disowned? That I have been disowned by IPOB and have been disowned by my husband's family and what? Do you know what that was? Well, because I am strong. Listen, I don't fight humans. I fight the demons behind them. I was pregnant within a weekend, and that was published on the Sun newspaper. What happened? That I wanted a change of lawyer. Who was lying that he had seen my husband and had not seen him. And I wanted to change the lawyer. I'm having a program next week Sunday, but I need to create a poster. I'll be bringing on a very important person who understands what loyalty is, who understands the art of loyalty, and that is Mazio Miu to host with me or to come on my platform and explain what it means to be loyal, what loyalty is. Loyalty comes with a lot of things. So it's something that I will speak further on next week. So I want a change of lawyer to see my husband, bring me feedback, because this person was not feeding me back, was just is the thing that they come to me and think they can disrespect me. I don't know where they get that notion from, and they don't get it very nicely from me. So I asked that this man step aside, and that was my crime. My book is a very powerful one. I will continue to reference that book. Because it is about me. So this man battered and spoke ill of me, and in fact, he was the one that said I was Mazin Nambekano's girlfriend, I'm not his wife. You know, all sorts of insult. And that is an insult to Mazin, not even to me. You know.
But, and this person is married to Edo's sister. Must be an agent of darkness, he is, for sure.
So I don't know him, never met him. So when Onyendu is out, I will show him war. That is when he will know. I would like to see his akamba. He's a spiritualist, isn't he? A good issue there with spirituality.
Well, Master Prophet or whatever they call you, I don't know how real or fake your spirituality is. But I want to advise you as a human being, and presumably you want to be a Biafran, because every Biafran's life matters to me, and I have the love for every Biafran. I advise you to engage some natural senses and do the needful, seek restoration, and seek reconciliation. Turn from your evil ways. Lord has declared tonight she is very open to forgiveness. But you have to seek it genuinely and honestly and mend your ways. Be on the path of transformation. Hitting our whole game. You will see, also. We need to be conscious to understand what we involve ourselves in. As I said, they have their consequences. And that message is not only for you, it's for all Biafrans. Those of us who dabble into this restoration of Biafra mission and have no real understanding of what the calling is all about. Lord, thank you for that spirit of forgiveness. It is not easy to forgive people who have seriously sought to damage your reputation and everything you have as a human being. Because anybody who seeks to damage your marital foundation wants to destroy everything you have as a human being. As a transformational life coach, Lord, do you see pathways for pathological liars? Because there are some people that are just, they can't stop lying. Do you think these people are open or amenable to reforms and transformations? Is anyone really beyond redemption? Sometimes I ask myself this particular question I'm asking you now.
No, Mazi, no one is, well, some people are beyond redemption, to be honest with you. And in everything we do, we have to be open to eventualities. We have to be open to every side of outcome and people. So there are people who can never ever change. I have seen that in the past, in fact. But there are people who can manage who they are. So I mean, that's why it's called pathology. Pathological lying. Excuse me. Excuse me. So, being a pathological liar comes with a lot of embedded baggage, Martha. A certain pathological liar can change, and another may not. It then comes from genetical, it comes down to one, genetics, and it comes also to perhaps at some point in that person's life there has been some sort of teaching that they are still conscious of somewhere deep down inside of them. It's hard to say a pathological liar would change, but I won't be far to say that if a pathological liar becomes aware, becomes conscious, can't manage that part of them. But in that consciousness, what does it come with? It comes, sorry, not the consciousness itself, the pathological liar, it comes often without a clean game per se. Some people just lie because they are so used to it. They just, it is a part of brain, Mazi. I keep talking about these compulsions and things. They have to train that part. Because it's compulsive and it's more of a reflex. So these people, without even realizing it, so there must be something that's happened in that person's life. Nobody gives birth to a pathological liar who just grows and just starts lying. Yeah, so there are embedded issues. It has to do with behavior, maybe trauma, maybe, you know, the certain type of person who, when growing up, you know, fears being beaten or fears a certain kind of punishment, and then just starts lying, just, you know, begins to lie, and over time they become so used to it and compulsively, just out of reflex, just some has become so unconscious of it, Mazi, that they don't even know that they're lying. It's just the brain can't pick that part of reality anymore. It's dormant, it's gone, it's dead. So it's all about reactivation. That is why consciousness is important. It's an important part of life. So for a pathological liar, you must understand that it is usually not the underlying issue, rather it's typically a symptom, rather. Yeah, I see that as a mental problem. I kid you not. And I've said this to someone before. There is something underneath that there is a mental problem, which is, I consider it as a symptom or a manifestation of an underlying mental health condition. And when I say mental health condition, I don't mean it in a bad way, not like a person who is mad, or no. Just an example of what I have explained. You know, it could be a certain thing that happened and, you know, just triggered something. It's deep. It's a concept on its own. I became intrigued by the human mind and human behavior. I'm going for my PhD, and that will be when I finish my course in transformational life coaching. I'll be doing my PhD in psychology because it's so intriguing. I became intrigued by the human behaviors and how humans can switch and become something else, you know, and it doesn't mean that nobody wants to not say the truth, but they have indulged in this so much, or something has underlain in their mental state that part that picks up consciousness to say, this is the right thing, do it. This is the right thing, do it. Because when you're pathologically lying, you are removing reality, you're obscuring reality, you're making reality, you're making it become non-existent. And now that takes another type of consciousness. So Mazi, to cut this long story short, the pathological liar can be restored. There is a restoration for such a person, but it takes work, takes creation of consciousness in that person.
Thank you very much, Lolo. The Holy Book teaches us that salvation is a free gift from God Almighty, Chukwu Kabiana, creator of the universe. And that is the hope we have, that nobody is beyond redemption. Nobody is outside of the realm of restoration, as Lord rightly said. If only you seek, and seek consciously. Because it says, freely we receive, and freely we shall give. Giving is forgiving, just as sharing is caring. These are some examples of sound philosophical mantras. But we have to be in the spirit of truth, or a place of truth, for this to come into reality. It's within us to bring good words into this, speak them into life. Some people will say, practice what you preach. That, to me, is one of the best illustrations of embracing reality, practicing what you preach. Lolo, we've been speaking now for more than 2.5 hours. Wow, Lolo, I must admit you're truly a lioness, a fierce one for that matter, because when we started giving your state of health tonight, this bug flying around and everything. I was thinking of cutting the program short to an hour, but here we are. So thank you very much. I must appreciate you once again, and I do hope our listeners and all Biafrans do appreciate you, not just for your personality, but also your humanity, the insights you have into understanding the human calling and also the need to uphold it at the highest standards. Thank you so much, ma'am. We talked a little bit about Igbo men and their newfound love for spreading malicious lies and falsehood and gossiping. That's trading in rumors. Those of us that don't have great business now choose to trade in rumors, especially in this advent of social media. But I don't think it would be fair just to talk about the men tonight without also looking slightly at our ladies. We love them. We used to take pride in Igbo ladies, Igbo women. And that's why they accuse us that an Igbo man will always want to go and marry an Igbo woman. Maybe it's for a reason. But something has been disturbing to me. I know we never take this as another topic. I just want to balance things a little bit before we sign off tonight. Our ladies, again, especially those who are overseas, just like the men, have become thorns in the flesh of their husbands. I don't like to use the word partners, as we are taught here in Britain. We've had alarming stories of some of our wives cooking, I want to borrow your word, cooking very dangerous, malicious lies and falsehoods against their own husbands, making unfounded false allegations for several spurious reasons best known to them. And some of these reasons might include to gain from the system, in quote, or state benefits. How can this be reversed in our community, and what word do you have for our ladies? No, just as you've had some, really tough words for our men, what about our ladies?
Oh my God. Mazi,
I hope I'm not putting you on the spot, but you just want to balance this a little bit.
Oh no, Mazi, it's another wider, like I said, everything about me is a concept. It give me any small problem, I'll create one big textbook on it, because there is so much about life. It's all in variations, and because how different our phases are, so our problems and characters and everything is as well. Or are, rather. But first of all, there will be what is it called? A one-day only workshop. I did tweet that. Must just give me just a few seconds to just mention this. I will tweet about it again and post it on Facebook. There is a sister of ours who is she's a PhD student in University of Leeds, and she's chosen her thesis on Biafran or Biafra as a religion and spirituality. But the people that she has different, of course. For those who've done their PhD, you have different types of analyses, and and in this context, or in her contextualized concept, she's chosen indigenous people of Biafra women in the UK to participate, which she wants to. She's interviewed me. So you don't need your name or she's not taking your picture, she's not taking your name, she's not, you can use anonymous name to, doing her question. I think she's on the qualitative analysis now. So for those of us who've done all this sort of thesis thing, you do your qualitative analysis, you do your quantitative ones, and so on and so forth. So next week Wednesday, she would be holding a one-day workshop, Uli art workshop for the participants. It's just for us to co-create art reflecting Biafra as a spirit and as a religion. So I think I'll talk more on that before that Wednesday. I'll try and tweet something on it. So I think she has this. She has her, what is it called? She has the information contact. It's the University of Leeds. In fact, I need to share that this brother of ours who also did research on Biafra, something else to do with Biafra. I can't remember because I was quite ill and couldn't really read it all. So Maz, I think you shared that as well. So our people are going into making intentional effort to broadcast, to let the world already knows, well, more about Biafra, but we're not on everyone's lips every day. So these are little ways that we can help each other. So I had a little bit of worry on our, from some of our people that it could be a bait, and so that can't be ruled out. I mean, it's good to be conscious and safety conscious. You need to be cautious, or needs to be cautious as well, considering, because of course, yes, but this is not what it is. This is not what you think, rather. This is an art, that someone would write in their thesis and it will be published, and so that's this person making us proud. And I think she's tried to be a member, and I think she had issues. She's got a new baby, and people can have issues and all of that. I think she's tried to join and all of that, but I heard that some people are not comfortable with that. But if you have nothing you're doing on Wednesday, please join us, because I will be there. Join us and let us all explore beauty of our identity, which is being Biafran, and as we always say, that it is a spirit and it's a religion. So we want to use that Uli art to create these things that we say. So it kind of resonates with me in terms of the spirituality, not religion, the religion part, because, well, religion, and I have no issues with religion, is just a semantic of spirituality. So it's just people have managed to separate the two and mess the religion up, and that's where the H is from. So if you can, please join us and let's explore this together. So having said that, Marty, thank you for that. For our women in overseas, it still goes down to consciousness, Marty. I mean, I can never speak enough of this consciousness and their operating or operational frequency as well. And also what the society has kind of knitted back home. So the little minds or the little minded women who are here in the UK. But first of all, Mazi, I'm so sorry, because I didn't mention this, the person that we've just lost recently, who in fact was a listener to I think he buys into consciousness and he likes to listen to my broadcast. And
Yes, I was going to do that to add when we are signing off. Yeah, okay. You can go ahead and
okay, so it hurts me that I've lost a listener. But I want to use this opportunity to beg women, because in everything, well, men, of course, they have their duties, they have their impact to play. Being that women are the ones that stay most times with children, what your child hears you say is very important. What your child sees you do is very, very important as well. Now, I feel you. Nabi, I don't know if I've mentioned this. Nabi walked up to me one day and he said to me, "Mommy," with his pen and paper, he was looking so serious. He said to me, "Mommy," he grabbed his chair, and I said, "Yes, Nabi." He said, "Please, can you teach me how to know when someone wants to trick me?" He said some girls she tricked him at school and he didn't like it. So his classmates,
as they play him, trick him, isn't it?
Yeah, they tricked him, yes. To play trick on him. So they played trick on him and he didn't like it. Nabikem was upset about it. Nabikem, they were just playing with you. He said no, he didn't like it. Nabikem is a very serious person. He sat down, he came with a pen and paper. So why am I saying this? What your child hears you say and sees you do matters in their formation. So when you speak with Nabikem, you would see that as little as this boy, he has some level of consciousness. At this age, he's attained some level of consciousness. He may not be in the practical mode at the moment because of his age, but in terms of the primal one, which is going for food, but the practical one, he can speak that he wants food. So he asks for his food and he asks for his. Now let me give you another example. He wanted a pizza, and I said, "You had pizza 3 weeks ago. I won't buy you pizza today." He said no. I think I said last week. He said no. It's been 3 weeks ago. I said, no, I don't think it's 3 weeks ago. So we were arguing, forth and back and forth. And I said to him, if I check my payment history and I find that I bought you pizza last week, I will not buy you pizza today. Agreed? He said, okay, maybe it's true. Maybe it was last week. I said, no, now that's wrong. You have failed it. Being who you are, I expected you to maintain that it's been 3 weeks ago, regardless if I buy you pizza or not. Don't know if you understand what I'm saying, Mazi.
Yes, I can relate to that. I do exactly the same with my son as well.
So I said to him, you must maintain, now that's what makes you a man, integrity and dignity, uprightness, and standing through your words. You do not waver. So this is a boy that constantly we are on consciousness because this is life. So whatever you say to your children, how you treat people around you in the presence of your child or your children, impacts on your children. They grow, they have some certain traits in them. There are several things that make up a person's behavior. You have the gene, you have the fathers, mothers, whatever, then environment, and then the child has their own. So there are thousands of behavioral traits running to, one to dominate another in a child's life. You just need to be conscious, which to look into, which to see, and which to dominate. Nobody is perfect. There are traits that you would see where you say, no, this one has to be dominated. And how do you dominate this trait that can be unpleasant? Is by consciousness, by teaching that child consciousness, how to navigate. on these different consciousness levels. So, Mazi, for our women in the UK, why do they do what they do? Which is one of the questions. I didn't get around to teaching that last year or talking about it. Nigerians who are here in the UK, some of them have become British citizens, but they take COS or whatever that thing is called, and they take £15,000, £10,000. They sell the COS to several people, bringing them to the UK, knowing that these people from Nigeria managed, some sold their lands and whatever it was they had, coming here. You know the environment this person was coming from. You've tasted Nigeria, you know what it is. Either you have people in Nigeria and you understand the current situation of Nigerians in Nigeria, but you have the audacity to take money from someone who has suffered and struggled in that Nigeria. You take that money from that person, knowing that you do not have it for that person. That person comes here, and you, knowing that the person stands a chance of being taken back to Nigeria or deported, and you know the person can't do more, you take that money and you leave that person in the rain. You are evil, and evil shall befall you. Whatever you have made will be taken from you. That money you have taken from that person who looked up to you, who trusted you, who believed you that you can give them a job, and gave you £15,000. Having stayed in this country for years, you took £15,000 from someone and did not offer that person a job. You placed that person in a place of difficulty. I'm saying this with a broken heart, Mazi, because I had to deal with this issue. I think about 3 people. I dealt with this issue twice last year.
Yeah, I mean, professionally, that's my role, and I just remove myself from it completely. Some people, if I say to myself, if that's the only way to make money, I'm not part of it. Some people, as you said, that are not conscious, do these things not minding the consequences and the circumstances.
And they sleep at night. Now, in consciousness, they need to understand there are things that are interim, there are things that are short term, there are consequences that are short term, there are consequences that are long term. They won't come now. So people are so short-sighted, they see right now. That's 15. You need to go and understand the art of money. Go and I have to teach our people, Mazi. There is something about money, just like there's something about yam. You know, G. You need to relate G to connect that to G is equal to ego. Ego also equal to what's this thing again? It's also Allah. So these are they are on the same universal energy level, Mazi. It's not what I'm teaching today, but you need to be careful who you're taking money from. You have to be very careful. So why did I pick up that as well? Because these people come from a system where everybody is corrupt, everybody is a crook, everyone has a reason they're doing something. There is no purity. There is no purity of heart. When there is no clarity of purpose, there is always something. Everything is transactional. So, Mazi, these women, because of the society that they have come from, because of how they grew up, a lot of people grow up unconsciously, Mazi. People just, I watch people sometimes and I feel daunted. I start to feel very dizzy. And that is what consciousness does to you. You suffer a lot. I'm constantly suffering because these these things are so glaring, the energies are so ever present, and they drain me sometimes. I get drained. So people don't know that, but as you're walking towards me, I think, Jesus, your energy, if you know how much I smell, I take your energy. There's this person who actually realized and stopped speaking to me and ran. He used to be, well, let me not call, with a wife, and he ran. He's a conscious person, but he's on a certain level, and he realized that I pick energies like mad, like magnet, and he ran. There was no point, because you can't lie to me, you can't hide it, you can pretend all you want. I see through you. So these women, they come from a society where they have known nothing. There is no true love, Mazi. There's no true love. There's this thing I wrote when I was, I didn't know that what I was going through was this transformational thing and consciousness. So I do write about a lot of things. It just comes and I just write them out. So in that piece, I wrote about the strength of love. It is stronger than death, but people are unaware of what true love is. But true love, they try to grasp it. It's not just what you say to people, and it's not just what you do. It's found in the consistency of what you do. So these people, out of what the society has been knitted or formed, they grow up seeing the men, not just seeing men, the men themselves are told that they are the men. You're doing a woman a favor by getting married to him. And you know that we have more chauvinism than liberal. We have more chauvinism than liberal. But chauvinism is not a bad thing. If the male chauvinist is conscious, he would control some certain things. So part of the thing that I have overcome over the past few months in my training as a transformational life coach is understanding that everyone can be themselves. It's just understanding your conscious level, how you can alternate, And as a life coach, I used to just want to transform someone or teach something and that's it. Oh, I'm the way coaches do this, play left, do this, left wing, and no. One of the things that I've also been transformed of is just laying all the possibilities, options on the table, and let that client pick the one that they think resonates with them. But the special thing about me is that I walk with people. I don't just coach. I walk with you every step. And I review. And I help. So these women pick from the society that they live to gain sustenance from a man. The average person from Nigeria, the average Nigerian woman's mentality is my sustenance is on average, so people should not get me wrong, not all the women. Even some who are actually making well-meaning out of their life still have that mentality. You see a man, the next thing in your head is how to tap from that man. So the story going around here in the UK where these women are leveling, these heinous or false allegations against their husband for state benefits. It is the mindset, Marcy. It is the mentality. and I will continue to say this. I only took this 2 years ago that before people get married, they should ask themselves why they want to be married. Is it just the name, is exciting? It's not. I've asked my sister's husband, there's a question I asked him, and he said, please, don't even go there, please. But it's a personal question.
Very pertinent one, even in counseling. I mean, people should actually take marriage counseling before marriage, not after marriage, very seriously, because that is a very personal question.
Why do you want to marry this person? Why do you want to be with this person? Some people want to be with a man for a certain thing the man would do for them. So some of these women married the man to be here, to be abroad, to go to wherever. Now, you do have issues. Everyone, of course, there will always be an issue. Even siblings do quarrel. So how can you not have misunderstanding with your spouse, with your husband, or with your wife? That is ever present. I mean, it helps you to grow. But when that happens and you intensify it, broaden it, add salt and pepper to it, falsely accusing that man, now that is a different level of wickedness and witchcraft. Because I believe that even with your husband, you would still take benefit, isn't it, Mazi? I mean, what's wrong with the woman getting the benefits from, even though the husband is there? It becomes little. Is that why? Because I don't know why the benefit is more important. The benefit can never be more than what your husband would give you. So I don't know. Maybe you can help me with that area, because I've never taken benefit.
Well, that would be a topic for another day. And also, in my consciousness, I am looking at the time, and I said to myself, wow, you go on and on and on, but I don't have to be unconscious to allow you to do that. So I want us to wind it up now, and also for our listeners, so that they don't fall asleep. There's a reason why we decided last minute not to take calls today, dear listeners. This is a very valuable class, lesson session. That's why I said at the beginning, please do have your pen and paper handy, or we will share the recording. This is one not to be missed. If you listen to it halfway or you got distracted, take your time and invest 3 hours of listening to Lolo on this program tonight. Well, I must thank you once again, but before we sign off, let me ask you what words of encouragement or reassurances you have for our people, Biafrans, insofar as this spreading of falsehood and malicious lies against your husband and against Biafra restoration is concerned. We're now hearing the new Tinubu spokesperson saying Nnamdi Kanu must renounce Biafra before the conditions for his release will be discussed. And that is giving us a lot of concern, because spreading falsehood and malicious lies is worrisome, it's troublesome, it troubles the heart and the spirit. So what advice would you, and assurances would you give our Biafrans tonight, Lolo?
Thank you, Mazi. First of all, that's Balawa, whatever his name is, Biwala, whatever his name is. That man behaves, he's very cheeky. He's a naughty, very naughty, cheeky boy. Why I said that is, first of all, the Boko Haramists that they have incorporated into the military, Nigerian military, who became Kenya military people. I don't remember seeing the Boko Haram, because they are still carrying on and killing people. In fact, now in the military uniform. I first saw one of he was being asked why he spoke against Tinubu, and now he's become his spokesperson, and he was meandering. And he was, thinking about the bush. And even though he did say, of course, the reason why he did what he did, which also goes back to people just being empty and playing games just for their own benefit.
Very inconsistent. That is the hallmark of hypocrisy, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, saying that Nnamdi Kanu must renounce Biafra, are you insane? You're an Hausa man. How can you renounce being an indigene of whatever house of land? I don't know where he's from. How can Nnamdi Kanu denounce Biafra? He's a Biafran. For Christ's sake. So that is, I understand what they're doing, because because they are the ones holding him. So they behave. We have him. So what can you do? So they are pushing. They are pushing. And they are pushing because they know, they can see that Igbos in general are not doing what they should do. They have not come together yet. It's a promise that when Igbos come together, they will let Nnamdi Kanu go. They will let Nnamdi Kanu. They're trying to provoke us. They are trying to provoke us. But we will continue to keep our calm, study the movement or the tide. But be rest assured that Nnamdi Kanu can never denounce Biafra, because he is a Biafran. He is a Biafran. He is an Igbo man. So, telling him to apologize that, what did he say, Christians do born again. Now, you as foolish as he is equating what we do to sinners repenting and becoming born again. We are the people of God, and what we are asking is an act of God, because God seeks justice. God is God. God is justice. God is love. God is not oppression. Those who become born again, that they became born again from certain things that they were doing, that were wrong. We are doing nothing wrong. We say, you treat us in this way, you malign us, you press us. We need support, we need this, we need that, we need this, we need this. And you say we must say that we have offended you. You must be mad. You must be mad. And that is why Nigeria has become a place of ridicule, because those who govern in Nigeria, they are kakistocratic. So, all I urge is, I've spoken to one of our brothers and he said, oh, he feels tired. Why? For the past how many years, Christians have attended services, and what is their hope? That Christ will come. Christ is coming. Jesus is coming soon. Jesus is coming soon. And you go to church and you listen to sermon. You still go to church every Sunday. You still give your tithe and offering. You still do. Why is this very case? Why is it different? How is it different? What actually is causing the tiredness of the mind? The Kano was thinking, you no longer attend meeting, you want to follow someone who is shouting like a mad dog, telling you he's bringing you back. I don't want to go far on that, but the advice and encouragement I can give to our people is, sometimes it seems that it is so tough, you can't go any further. Think about those whose situations are worse than yours and keep forging ahead. That spirit of patriotism and unity and love, I have that drive that if I go somewhere and see where an evil person is being maltreated, I will fight the other person. Not just evil person. If I go to a place where if somebody is speaking to a black person anyhow, I will tell you off. I will tell you off. I will tell you off. So, someone who, when I have conversation, or dialogue with the so-called English people, I debate with them. We have conversations. Leave no room for anybody to intimidate you. Nobody must intimidate you. We have this spirit of scoring like squirrels. We start oh no, oh what is this? Oh ikagulam. But you all came out and said, the Kanu, keep going in Azo. That is what makes you a man. That dignity, that integrity, that you do not waver or prevaricate. When I'm dealing with someone, and if I open my mouth, saying I can when I give me Chinese, if I'm gonna get somebody or what? If I open my mouth, say that is the spirit I want us all to wear. That fire spirit. All these elements of the of the universe that we have them in us as spirit. Which one are we allowing to dominate the other one? Are we allowing the earth? Are we allowing the air? Are we allowing the water or the fire to dominate? Let's ignite that spirit of fire. Let us rise and stand our ground. Because people who are supposed to speak are scurrying and hiding under the carpet. That is why these people think they can hold him on the counter with disregarding the court order. How dare he? That's the problem. That is the problem. They don't understand their law. Your law says you have gone against this man, you turned around and say he has to denounce. That is your problem. We have always known that is the problem. And that is why we say IPOB must not be destroyed. Because you people are narcissists. I've talked about the narcissist, the relationship between a narcissist, husband and the wife, and relating it and equating it to the Nigerian government and how they treat Igbo. But people are rising in consciousness to demand justice. But for those who are saying, well, I believe in justice, but what is being done to Nnamdi Kanu is okay by you because you don't like what Nnamdi Kanu is doing. If you don't like what we are doing, profile us with a solution and we'll debate it and we'll look at it and see if it's okay by us. And then we can talk about it. You're holding on to someone. There is no reformative or justice. There is no there's also transformative justice, that's a different topic, entirely, which is something actually that the government can put in place. We can demand for reformative justice and transformative justice altogether. Or restorative, sorry, I keep saying reformative. So, great Biafrans, let the fire of brotherhood, let the fire of self-preservation, let the fire of safety, let the fire of generational preservation be ignited in your heart tonight. That you stand your ground and say that these that we are doing is for our generation. As a people, we have long been sidelined, we have long been maltreated. Everybody is saying it. I will keep calling Sowore, using him as a reference point. It is there. Igbos are targeted. That alone should make you stand. The way you go and fight, someone hits your child and leaves the other person's child, and you go. That spirit of protection, that spirit of preservation, that is a basic human instinct. And I'm a preacher of it. That instinct, that reflex that comes for you to defend yourself. Defend yourself in your workplace, defend yourself even in the house. Siblings defend themselves from each other. When someone says, oh, you did, you say, no, I didn't. You're defending. So this Idamba, I don't understand where it is coming from. Because everybody Idamba, then it's now left for me to find a different way for Nnamdi Kanu to be released to me. So it means Nnamdi Kanu has been abandoned. There is a fire that will come from the people that would push. It becomes a catalyst to what we seek. So we all need to come back to the drawing board. For those who listened to Nnamdi Kanu for 10 good years, Nnamdi kept shouting on the radio every day, Nnamdi Kanu this, Nnamdi Kanu that, Nnamdi Kanu said this, Nnamdi Kanu thought, sometimes he broadcast twice, every day. And today, in Halamba. How? I don't make it make sense to me. How? It means that all he thought, you did not listen. All you liked to hear him was roar like a lion and speak English. Oh, Dario, swear. You were doing that. But we are formidable. Do you know what it is? I will teach you the art of formidable.
That's right.
What it means to be
Rhetoric recitation and sloganism.
Which is a danger. It is a danger. They will rhetorically push you and you fall in you by any megota. And then they run.
Give it to them, Lala. Give it to them, Lala. Say it.
And they move by the side. You can say indirect. We are here. You're the one that will be you. It is you who will betray me. He told you. And the next thing, somebody insulting Nnamdi Kanu. You think that monkey in that midget in Finland was insulting me? He wasn't insulting Nnamdi Kanu, but your brain, your frontal lobe refused to understand and analyze on P between lines. Nnamdi Kanu is incarcerated. You cannot expect him to perform magic from where he is or solve problems from where he is. Or the Iranian who are on the outside to understand the implications of the destruction of IPOB, what it means to us as a people, and refuse, because there
That is my crime. I have stood and refused to allow IPOB to be destroyed because I understand the capacity of which IPOB operates. If you open your eyes and understand the capacity of IPOB, when you go and water flower, the flower you like, ogo, that ogo you like, in your backyard, and you watering it and he's bending his neck. Why do you think he's bending his neck? Janeanuku is not holding it enough. You can get the bucket filled with manure, sand in it, and protect that plant and build it. With aja here, and then when you water it, it just grows. And provide oshishi. I would watch my mom. She will provide oshishi for ogo. You see the ogo obido piam omeka was people the next day. Obido ari. That is what we need. You don't sit beside and I call on here and I call on there. That is sometimes I don't even know. I don't really speak to much people because you need to operate on a certain level for me to communicate with you. So let us all grow up. Let us wake up tonight. Let this 2025 ignite that fire. Let it begin to burn. You go to Christian church revival.
Revival, yeah, it's our revival.
Revival. Tonight. This tonight is our revival night. Let us begin to allow the spirit of fire in us to burn every injustice, to burn every malicious lie, to burn every stronghold of the enemy. You're Christians, but you don't even know the power as you don't even understand what it is to be a Christian. Because we also are unconscious Christians. You go to church just to be seen and be called a Christian. And they behave as if God is stupid, like God can't see their heart. Why do you go to church? That they're a Christian. And why do you pray to God? Why do you call on God? 99% of people in that country, our people, Africans, calling God for one reason or another.
For testimonies, material testimonies. That's all.
For visa, for husband, for fruit of the womb, for this. Nobody. How many of you wake up in the morning and say, thank you, Father, for the sun. Thank you for the rain. I glorify your name. Order my steps in your word and you walk. Stop asking for food. Oh God, open my doorways. How many of you pray to God and say, order my steps?
Give me miracle alert. And order. Anyway, Lola, I think if
I keep going so yes. Please let us inculcate that which we do in our Christian world. Let's bring it here as a people. What we are doing is righteousness. We are seeking a better place for our children. Mwah. I want to go home. I want to be home. That early morning vitamin D, we need it. You know, so protect yourself as you're protecting yourself if you're consciously. Also look after yourself. It's cold. I'm recovering, but in terms of your skin and the rest of it, always incorporate castor oil to your skin regime. It helps this ankle pain and knee pain. Please always add castor oil to yourself to put it on before your body cream, and thank me later. So I'm saying that because I usually get
thank you very much, Lord.
Thank you very much.
A transformational life coach. Very well. You're also a traditional organic healer. Thank you so much, Lolo.
Thank you.
Dear listeners, you've heard Lolo. Wow, over 3 hours of valuable lessons that you cannot even get from any university curriculum. Transformation stoke the fire of revival. That's my payoff line tonight. And in this year, 2025, our year of true positive transformations, which we have already begun here in IPOB UK, Lord has said, giving you all the pieces of advice that you need. All I can add is key in, move, not just a slogan, but in action. Remain resolute. Anchor yourself on all the teachings Oriental have passed on to us over a decade. And retain faith in your work. Because just as faith without work is dead, work without faith is equally moribund. Once again, I thank our special guest for this month of February, Oyedun's beloved wife and our own dear First Lady, Lolo Uchechigene, Anyamoto to Okukano. Lolo, thank you so much for being with us, for believing in us, and for being a pillar to IPOB UK and IPOB worldwide. We know that we can always count on you on this program, the UK Timers on Radio Biafra, and you'll be there for us to teach our people, to spread your love through teaching freely. I must also thank our IPOB UK family, entire family. We had a very fruitful meeting last 2 nights ago, and I urge you all to take into action our resolutions. By the special grace of Chukwuka Abiyama, we are already revived. It is not by might, it is not by power, but by the Spirit of Chukwuka Abiyama. And it is not also, I've learned a lesson personally, that it's not also by the crowd. Yes, we need the numbers, I keep saying, when we go for referendum. But in the actual task of leading this battle to the God-ordained goal, I've also learned a lesson that probably the fewer, the stronger. So those of us who are principal officers, you know all we are doing already as part of our transformation. Chukwuka Abiyama will see us to a logical conclusion. We need to shake some weight off us and be lean and fit and strong at this stage of the battle. I want to thank the IPOB UK Media and Innovation team, Mazi CJ Chibike, Mazi Sam in particular, and others for your contribution to this program every week. I cannot end tonight without also thanking Mazi Chukwuemeka Lozie, our anchor on Radio Biafra, who has been very fervent and very supportive to ensure that we come to you loud and clear. Next week we will return with a very strong panelist, or panel I should say, of the leading IPOB legal and compliance team members. Laura Carol Monday, who is our head IPOB UK legal and compliance team, and IPOB Worldwide Special Rep, will be with us together with Mazi Iken Nanjoko and Mazi Azubike Afonsos, who are all legally trained minds, to discuss the topic, restoring Oyedun's bell, a matter of urgency. It's another one not to miss. Join us next Sunday. Before I sign off, Laura did mention one of the IPOB UK member who loved to listen to Laura and to learn from her teaching. I didn't know that until he confided in me, but sadly we lost him. My friend, my brother, who is also based in my own city here in the UK, Chief Philip Ndubisin Leme Omeroha, popularly known as Plush, pioneer member of IPOB UK zone or family, who passed away sadly 2 weeks today. His earthly remains will be committed to Mother Earth on the 14th of next month here in Leicester. Our thoughts and prayers remain with his young family and those who he left behind. As we mourn, we don't mourn like those who haven't got hope, because our hope is in Chukwuka Biama for the full restoration of Biafra. This brother is somebody who assiduously worked hard and wished that we restore Biafra so that he can, like myself, return home. Our prayer is to answer the call of Chukwuka Biama in Biafra land so that our bones and remains will be buried in our ancestral soil. But when we take it in good faith. For me, from here, it's a very good night. God bless you all.
Good night.
Good night, Lord.
Good night.
Lord, thank you so much.